Hello, Philadelphia! I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show!
Good morning! Good morning, everybody! Well, a happy Monday. Yes, it's Monday, but it's May. So Mondays aren't the same in the spring and the summer. Mondays suck in the fall and winter. Although football season, everything's great. They're not as bad Mondays. A little bit palatable when it's in nice weather. It's supposed to get nicer. We're going to be in the 70s all week. It's going to be great. This is the Anthony Gargano Show. We're brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out TrueMark.com/PHLY or stop at your local branch to learn more about the credit union difference at TrueMark Financial today. Well, it was a good weekend other than yesterday for the fighting Phillies, where Wheeler, just talk about a clunker. I mean, he just had a clunker, right? That was that deal. Bad day yesterday for Zach. Bullpen, no good. Bats gave it their best, but still they go down. They take care of business. And now it's on to the Mets. The bleeping Mets. Overheard during our pre-show meeting. I think it was Andrew, our fine producer who's back in the fold, said the bleeping Mets. And that's how they're known. That's right. The bleeping Mets. We get New York for 4. Yeah, I'm tired of New York too. So we'll discuss that series. Lots to do today. But to begin the show, I want to talk about prodigies. It's unbelievable, right? The story that is going on with the union. Because I open up the Wall Street Journal. I get a note about the Wall Street Journal, and Cavan Sullivan, who is a local kid. We talked about this. In fact, JP brought this up to me the other day, and he talked about Cavan Sullivan and how he's 14 years old. The union, he's plays for the Union Academy. The union signed him to a $2 million contract. He'll play here until he's 18, and then he'll go play for Man City. Because of England's rules, work rules, labor rules, the child labor rules, he has to stay here for the next 4 years, and then he'll go to Manchester City. And he's an amazing story. Just an incredible story. 14 years old. And so yesterday, we have a Mother's Day baseball tournament. So we have 11U. So my Massimo plays 11U baseball, and we had a nice weekend. Saturday, 2 games. Yesterday, 2 games. And it was, I think my wife's used to it right now because we spent our Mother's Day at the baseball field, right? And all the moms get together and they have mimosas, right? So they have the champagne. Who brought the orange? Who brought the peach? They had the Bellinis going. Like that's the moms, right? Like, God bless them. They're all there for the kids, and we had and it was a miserable day, right? It was cold, spitting rain, but it was fun. Anyway, there's a kid that plays on one of these teams who is unbelievable. All right, so my Massimo's team is the Warriors, and they're a good squad. Like a lot of tremendous kids on that team. Moscow was down the bottom. Like those kids are really, really good ball players. So anyway, so we get to the final and we play. There's a team called the Assassins, right? I brought that up to the group the other day. I was telling them about it. And VG's like, wow, the Assassins. I'm like, they sound like a movie like villain, right? Like if you can imagine any other like kids movie, right? And the team that's like the nasty, great team that they're all like stud athletes, that's the Assassins. But they're a great bunch of kids. But the best player on the team is a kid named Gavin Mason. And I'm watching this kid yesterday. So it's the championship game. It was a great game, right? Our boys hung tough. This team's good. I think this team is one of the best teams in probably all of Jersey, certainly South Jersey. They're really good. Well coached. They're just a really good team. But they have a kid, Gavin Mason, who hit 2 bombs yesterday. He's got 14 home runs already. We're like we're not like we're the Phillies, right? We play every day. He's got 14 home runs. It's unbelievable. He's got close to 50 for his career, starting at 8U. He's a lefty. And if I told you he looks like Jim Thome, he looks like Jim Thome. It's uncanny. He's a mini Thome. And the ball just flies off his bat. I mean, absolutely flies. He can also pitches. He primarily catches, but he can pitch too. He throws 70, right? I mean, it's unbelievable what this kid does. He's 11 years old. In fact, he'll turn. I think he just turned 12. He plays 11U. He just turned 12. It's tremendous. I would draft him now if I was one of these major league teams. And the wonderful thing about him, he loves 4-for-4. He's a Phillies, Flyers, Sixers, Eagles. Great kid, like sweetheart of a kid. A lot of times you get these kids that are that good and they're elitist. Like even at that age, they're like this elite ball player who is, they're not really warm. This kid's a sweetheart, just a dynamite kid. Great family, the Mason family. I just love the family. It's a great, dad's tremendous, really cool. And but this kid, well, I got to show you a video. Check this out, because we're talking about prodigies. And I want to get into this and make this as a side issue as we go on and do stuff. We always hit spring and summer and it gets kind of, sports-wise, we're down to baseball. So I want to do a little bit of a project with our youth. All right? But take a look. Andrew, play this video. This is Gavin at the plate. So that's off the Game Changer. Now, when you see this, so he sees a lefty. I mean, look at him. He's big. I mean, he's all 5 and 11, 12, 5, 6. Now here it comes. Where you see the ball jump off his bat. This is tremendous. No, he's going to get. Here it is. Boom. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I mean, seriously. Are you kidding me with that? The ball just fly. Boom. Perfect swing. It's incredible. And this brings me to Cavan Sullivan. Now, imagine this. I'm talking about an 11U ball player, right? Cavan Sullivan, 14 years old. So I open up the Wall Street Journal. I'm fascinated by this story of Cavan Sullivan. I mean, these are great. It's a great Philadelphia family, the Sullivans, from the Northeast. I mean, they're real Philadelphia people. And this kid's 14 years old. Manchester City, right? Like Manchester City, which is the Yankees of the Premier League, signs him. I mean, are you kidding me? 14. He's 5'5", 150 pounds. I mean, And he's 14. He's that good. It's funny. I was talking to JP. I'll bring JP on in a second. But I was talking to JP, and he's telling me about his vision, about how he sees the field. And he sees the field with just different than any, forget people his age, but people like tremendous players. Because I'm thinking to myself, how does a kid distinguish himself at that age, right? Like, how does that happen? And everybody that has watched him, he just pops. When you see a kid, and I just brought up the baseball equivalent, right? You see a kid just, he's a little different, right? Or she's a little different than everybody else out there. And Cavan Sullivan is a lot different, right? A lot different. He signs at $2 million. Imagine this. And this is as a father of two sons who both play sports, and I'm so into the youth sport thing. I love it. If I told you, I look forward to our games, like whatever it is, I look forward to. I look forward to watching them and teaching them and helping out, and I love it. I just love it. And so the story of Cavan Sullivan strikes home. It's a local dude, and this is a worldwide story that he's a prodigy, and he's from Northeast Philadelphia. An amazing story, just amazing. And so I urge you to get a hold of me either on social media or, you could shoot me an email here. We'll make sure we have it. But I want to hear about the exploits of our youth, right? Like we want to trump that up because it's just a treasure. And I'm thinking about Cavan Sullivan, and I was watching young Gavin Mason, and I was excited by it. Like, we're just seeing the next one. And our area, the Delaware Valley, has become an incredible fertile ground for prospects, every sport. We talk about Marvin Harrison Jr., right? Dominate college football. We got a lot of kids, a lot of football kids that are coming out of here. Right now, we're talking about soccer. We have a ton of baseball, Major League Baseball. I'm watching a kid, Schneider, from the Blue Jays, who's one of our kids, lead off over the weekend. These are Delaware Valley kids doing big things across major pro sports. So I really want to keep tabs on it. Good morning, JP.
Buenos dias, cuz. How you doing?
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. How was your Mother's Day?
It was good. Well,
baseball?
It was baseball.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Were you guys at the Cherry Hill National League field, or was that was Mason that was hitting there?
That was Mason. That wasn't yesterday.
That was that's where I quit baseball. Which
oh,
is
really?
I think that's where I played growing up.
No, did you really?
Yeah.
No, that wasn't yesterday. He had 2 bombs yesterday.
Oh my God. I recognize that field though.
Yeah, no, that wasn't yesterday. Yesterday, we had a home in Swedesboro.
Oh, cool.
Is where we play out. By the way, that was popping off, brought to you by Olipop. Find your favorite Olipop flavor at your nearest Wawa. Yeah, it was, dude. I'm watching this kid play. He had 2 bombs yesterday.
That's insane.
2.
And it's crazy because, we always bring up the youth, right? And it's so important to have these kids just fall in love with the sports, right? And when you're looking at the larger landscape of sports, right? Like, listen, not all these kids are become professional athletes, which is fine, right? But if you want to be in that realm, listen, expansions happen through all these American leagues. Soccer is now a thing. Kids can now dream of becoming a European star. Oh, by the way, you're talking about Cavan. We have Brendan Aronson and Mark McKenzie representing over in Europe and for the U.S. men's national team. So it's really cool. It's that extra step of pride that we have here as Philadelphia.
Well, tell me about it. Do me a favor. Explain to me Cavan.
Yeah.
All right, Cavan. First of all, this is a great Philadelphia family.
For sure.
With has a lineage in the sport, right?
Yeah, that's right. So just for some context, so Cavan's grandfather actually coached our head coach, Jim Curtin. So during the press conference, if anyone watched it, listen, Jim was a little emotional because that was the one guy, that's the first guy who really taught him about the game, and Jim was ready to shed some tears because of that. So now coming full circle, seeing Jim now manage and coach Larry Sullivan, that's his grandfather, Larry Sullivan's grandson, and both of his grandsons, because Quinn, let's not forget Quinn. Quinn is also on the team. It is really cool. Brendan, who is Cavan and Quinn's father, runs a soccer clinic in the area. So the soccer ties to the Philadelphia area are very strong. But Cavan, because you mentioned at the top of it, he sees the game at the next level.
Let's discuss this on the air. So you're because I was asking a lot of questions, and you know the sport really well. What distinguishes himself, like at 14, to catch the eye of Manchester City?
Yeah. So, I mean, this kid has been playing for the U.S. youth teams since he was 10 years old, right? So he's really played above his age bracket. And you talked about the vision. That's really the main thing. The kid sees the field at an older age. Like, he doesn't see the field like a 14-year-old kid. Another thing, too, is that these
That's
kids,
interesting, the prodigy aspect of it.
Yeah.
The prodigy aspect, they are mature, like beyond their years. Like they have this old soul. Sometimes I believe in the reincarnation of these incredible athletes, right? Like that they can see it, right? It's uncanny, and that's kind of what you're explaining.
Yeah, and like the other thing too is like you hear a lot of the time some of these great athletes, they're like the youngest sibling of like 4 or 5 brothers, right? He has a bunch of brothers. He played with them growing up, and we talked about who his father and his grandfather is. So I have to expect that all
North Catholic guy.
Yeah. All that soccer tutelage is helping this young kid out. And the thing is, at that age, cause like it's tough for these kids to have a set position. But Cavan, he's pretty set. Like he is an attacking midfielder. Now with the Union, we talked about it with depth. It's going to be tough because we're very stacked at that position. But he's going to have to learn now that he's with the senior team the physicality of the sport, because now you're playing with grown men. You're not playing with 14-year-old kids.
Well, that was my question. Like in any other sport, the idea of a 14-year-old playing, like, you know, maybe golf, right? Like I could see something like that. But in every other sport, it's impossible,
right?
Because of the physical nature. Like we talk about, you know, baseball. Obviously, you know, you could be 18, 20, right?
Fresh
Nobody younger than, I mean, Doc Gooden was 18 years old when the Phillies are playing the Mets. And I remember the story of Gooden when he came up and, you know, he had an amazing 12-6 curveball. He had a fastball with a tail on it, right? With blaze. But like, you're 18. At 14, football speaks for itself.
Right.
Basketball speaks for itself. Like, LeBron was a man-child. And you saw for every one of these one-and-doners or every one of these kids that came right out of high school, it took them a while to establish themselves.
Yeah.
Like LeBron and Kobe were rare.
Yeah, and that's kind of the plan, you know, hearing from Jim and Ernst and what they're trying to do with Cavan. Like the first thing that's the most important part about Cavan, now that he's staying here until 18, is just allowing him to be a kid. Because as you guys can clearly tell, you talked about it, Wall Street Sports is covering this story. Like that's a lot of pressure.
Wall Street Journal. Yeah.
Wall Street Journal, a lot of pressure for a 14-year-old kid. So it's really important for the Union to just allow him to be a kid. But also, too, this is what the plan is with the U. Developing young, hoping that they can help the senior team. And I know the part that you don't like, selling them off to Europe so they can be ready for when they do go to Europe.
I mean, you know, it goes against... See, this is where... Now, I'll defer to you because you know the sport inside and out. I don't. Andrew, our producer, does. I don't know the sport like that. And, you know, I admire its beauty and how it's played in skill. But the concept of, you know, being a minor league team, I mean, basically you're telling me that we're just a minor league team.
So the problem with the MLS is that we started like centuries after what these other leagues have done. We're
intellectually, I understand it all. Like I get, you know, money and I get, you know, power. At some point though, and this is where it's got to come, right? At some point, someone's going to make a big investment into the MLS.
Yeah.
Like with all the money that's in the United States, when do they start buying players and start competing with Europe? You know, when do you start competing with Premier League and Bundesliga and Serie A? When's that start?
So that's
for your Porto.
That's a great question to ask for some of these millionaires, billionaires that we have here in this country. All it is investment, cause right now, what the MLS is trying to do, because they want to compete, they really want that quality to get better, right? So the past couple of years, they have been able to develop some young kids, not only here, but outside the country as well. And so their hope is that for right now, the quality will be good because these kids are developing and they're pretty damn good kids. And so
Well,
and
here's the question: is there an audience to support it?
and here in the United States,
Yes.
I think it's proven that. Like I think we talked about it Friday.
I mean, that's
There
that's
is.
basically what we're talking about. Can they support? Because again, if we know that people are dying to be wealthy, people love to be in sports, but the business has to make sense.
Yeah, and that's what I tell a lot of my a lot of my fellow soccer content creators right now. I know it's tough right now because there's not a lot of money in that, but because the big event is in 2 years.
Yeah.
2026, that's what we're all banking for, that World Cup, because that's going to be the biggest stage of them all, not just in soccer,
Right.
but in sports. So that's going to be a great opportunity for you to show to a lot of these billionaire investors, look what's going on. Look what we just did at the World Cup. Come on over, invest in the Philadelphia Union, invest in New England Revolution, these type of clubs. And that way we can get that money influxing and we can compete with some of those big teams that you're saying.
Cavan, like when will we see Cavan?
Question. So that's what we're going to try to find out. First, he needs to figure out his way through that depth chart. Now, he's very talented. How
Are
talented
you
is
talking next year, like ballpark? I'm not going to hold you
I'm
to it.
hoping by the end of this year, we see him out on the pitch. But he's still got some things to work on. Right now, he has a little bit of a little injury, a little one. So that's why he wasn't there last Saturday. But he's going to get in the practice. He's going to be with the guys on a day-to-day. And then hopefully by the end of this year, we do see him out
wild.
there.
Yeah.
And then hopefully next year, we could see him possibly being a rotating piece in the
Now,
lineup.
Andrew's got a jersey. What jersey you have on?
That's a good one.
Liverpool. I'm a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, that's right. You got Liverpool. What do you got?
The Liverpool.
Well, I was going to
Because I know
add.
you're itching.
I was going to add into what you guys were saying, and I think for like the appeal in the United States, I think a big thing for the MLS is that we have the World Cup coming here in 2026.
Right. Big one.
And I think that's going to help kind of pull people into soccer. Because soccer is competing in the United States with football. I mean, come on. The NFL is one of the biggest things here. It's hard to get past that.
Everything can coexist. I mean, it's not like it's a competition in the sense of like you can't be both fan of both sports and you're a sports fan. You can love basketball and baseball and football and soccer and hockey. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, and I think it's also another thing is the stigma around soccer. In that the flopping and like people don't see it as.
I wouldn't get caught up in that. I think that stuff happens.
NBA is the second biggest league in this country.
I wouldn't get caught up.
I mean, you're not 100% wrong. I think like there was a stigma decades ago that kind of the stench is stuck on here in 2024. But like, listen, we're American sports fans. We watch the best American football league. We watch the best basketball league. We watch the best baseball and best hockey league in the world. So for a lot of American sports fans, it's tough to get on board with the MLS because unfortunately, we're not the best league in the world, let alone the best league on this side of the world just yet. So that's one of the tough parts too. So that's why, like you said, we need that investment to make all these clubs, not just Inter Miami, not just LAFC, but all these clubs a great product out there to watch on a day-to-day. And expansion's growing. We have San Diego coming in next year, and it's going to keep coming. Maybe Vegas will come in the fold. Hopefully Detroit, Pittsburgh, these type of towns. So it starts here with these young stars. And hopefully
I love it, dude. I got to tell you, and I love the kids. I do.
Exactly.
I love the kids I told you about, and there's a lot of them. Like I just mentioned Gavin because we played him yesterday and he hit 2 bombs in the championship game.
Yeah.
And that was heartbreaking too. Our kid Brian hit a bomb to bring us back. We lost by 3.
Oh, that's heartbreaking, cuz.
Yeah, it was great baseball. Anyway, we got lots to do today. We're gonna talk to Devon coming up. I need some basketball talk because some of the playoffs. I'll tell you, I'm shocked that Denver came back. I thought Denver was on the mat, and I thought they were done. And man, speaking of prodigies, Anthony Edwards, even in a loss, is just the greatest. We'll talk to Devon about the playoffs, about some of the Sixer rumors. We'll get to that. So we love talking to Devon. We got the brain coming up for the Daily Grind. We got Baldy to get us set. There's a leak. We have our first leak. Monday Night Football. It's to start the season. Actually, it's the Thursday night game. to start the season, Kansas City and Baltimore. So we'll talk to Baldy. And what I want to talk to Baldy about today is hard work. Were the Eagles too soft last year? And, no mini camp. And there's a lot of thought process. And I heard it from numerous people inside the building that maybe they're going to be a little bit tougher. So we'll talk to Baldy about that. But lots to do today on a Monday as we get you started here on the Anthony Gargano Show. Let me tell you about Butcher Box. Oh, I love Butcher Box. Easily, fun. I'm telling you, high quality meat, seafood you can trust. 100% grass-fed beef, free organic range chicken, pork raised, crate-free, wild-caught seafood. You mainly raise, no antibiotics, no added hormones. Butcher Box. We were excited because we got our Butcher Box in the mail. It was all beef, right? It was steaks and burgers, chops. It was the boys loved it. Look, we're heading to grilling season. Memorial Day weekend around the corner. There's no better time to get hooked up with Butcher Box. I mean, you're talking about good, high-quality meat and seafood, stuff you can trust without antibiotics. Like, that stuff worries me. So I have two, we talk about I tell you about my boys. I know you have kids out there or you just want to make sure you're eating right and it's grill time. Go to Butcher Box, and it's a great deal. I mean, you get great deals on this. Think about this. The value is amazing. All right? Truthfully, you're going to get incredible prices, great savings. All right? Really, they beat grocery stores. I know. I'm a customer at Butcher Box. Do yourself a favor. Check it out. If you get free meat plus $20 off your first box, join today. Use the link butcherbox.com/PHLY. That's butcherbox.com/PHLY. That code PHLY. All right? You get the exclusive offer. Free meat, $20 off your first box. Check it out. butcherbox.com/PHLY.
Love
JP.
it. I love that, cuz. All right. Well, listen, we're talking a lot about young prodigies here today, right? And you know what young prodigies love? They love soda. Let's be honest, they do. But guys, we're not going to give them that other stuff because it's not good for them while they're trying to prepare for their games, whenever that may be. So we got the best option here for you, and that's Olipop, ladies and gentlemen. Give your young prodigy some of that Olipop and see how much they're just going to love it. You hear Cuz talking about Massimo with his root beer float with the Olipop? Well, why don't you try it with
Anthony.
Anthony loves the Olipop with the root beer float.
Massimo likes the vintage cola.
Okay. All right. Well, let's find out what your young prodigy loves. Let me tell you a little about Olipop, guys. It's the world's first functional soda. It has that classic soda taste. That's why we're recommending it here. And it has benefits of plant-based fiber, prebiotics, and other botanical ingredients to support that gut health, ladies and gentlemen. And it's a soda that has only 2 to 5 grams of sugar and 9 grams of fiber. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You can't beat that nutritional facts right there. And it's available in 30,000 retailers, including our favorite right here, ladies and gentlemen, that Wawa. And of course, you can find it at other retail shops like Wegmans, ShopRite, Sprouts, Target, and you can order it online on GoPuff as well. You can get it delivered. But if you want to take advantage of our promo code here, we have it for you, PHLY20. That'll get you 20% off. However, this discount only applies to one-time orders, not to subscription orders. You can order Olipop online at drinkolipop.com or on Amazon to take advantage of that great deal. Again, that's PHLY20. Use some for your young prodigy here today. And thank you to our friends over at Olipop.
All right, JP, time now to talk a little hoop. And joining us right now, my main man, covers the Sixers, great basketball show. Love it. Devon Givens, all PHLY basketball with our friends. Kyle Newbeck and Derek Bodner. What's up, brother?
What's up, man? Good morning. How you doing?
You know what? I got to tell you, I'm surprised as all get out that the Denver's off the mat. After those first 2 games, when I saw that defense and how they hounded Jamal Murray, I was like, this is styles make fights. They're not coming back. I figured, well, all right. They get one. Murray goes off in game 3. But last night, I thought it would be a T-Wolves night, and it was not.
Especially how how Minnesota started that game. They jumped on them early. They had They had a pretty decent lead on them. Of course, nothing too sizable that early, but the way that they played early on, they took the gut punch Denver did, like a champion does, and they found a way to come back. And I thought the real tough part for Minnesota was they were down big eventually in that first half. They cut it to 7, and then that final 20 seconds or so
Oh, yeah.
of that second quarter going into halftime, where they get a 3-pointer from, I think it was Kentavious Caldwell Pope on the left wing. And then Anthony Edwards, who could have held the ball for the remainder of the possession before going into halftime, thought he went a little bit too early. Screen set by Gobert. He splits it. Ball goes off of Gobert's foot. They go the other way. Michael Porter Jr. gets that dunk. That's 5 quick points now for them, right? And then the turnover from Alexander Walker trying to go full court, or at least half court. Jamal Murray with that amazing shot along the sideline there from half court to nail it. So that's at 8 points right there in 20 seconds to nothing, where it didn't have to be that way. Of course, we would have been down 10 after that Caldwell Pope 3-pointer, but so
your point's right.
I think that's where they lost the game.
I think your point's right on, because you go from 10 to 15. Like 10, all right. 15 is mentally a difficult number, because you saw them. They were going to run, and then every time they were going to run, Denver hits a 3, and they got it inside single digits a couple times. But it's one thing to be down 10 and make those runs, and now you make them sweat, because now all of a sudden it's inside 5, it's 3, it's 4. Then the crowd's into it. Then you could tip it. But they never got to the point where they could completely tip it.
Yeah, because to your point, when they were down there in that second quarter, I'm sitting there watching the game, and I'm saying, okay, you just have to get this to single digits. Get it to about 8, 7 points, somewhere around there. And they did. They got it to 7. Caldwell Pope hits that 3. That's not impossible coming out to start the third quarter. But when you turn that into 15, as you said, and then come out in the third quarter where they're just trading baskets. They hit a 3, Anthony Edwards does. Karl Anthony Towns hits a 3. Michael Conley hits a 3. But on the other end, they hit a 3 for Denver. They get a 2-pointer, and they're just trading buckets. So while you're chipping away and you're getting that 1 point because you're knocking down the threes, the defense is not stopping Denver on the other end. So that was a tough one, and I agree with you. While I didn't think they would sweep them, I know we discussed it a little bit on our show. I didn't think they would sweep them, though. I thought they would get a win, come back to Denver game 5 with an opportunity to close the series out. Now, Denver's right back in this, and both teams have won on the road. So we'll see if Minnesota can keep that up tomorrow night for game number 5. But Denver has figured something out now where they have been able to get back into this series. And I also thought this too, when Minnesota did cut into that lead in the fourth quarter last night. I was wondering when the coaching staff, since Chris Finch is down and he has his assistant really on roaming the sideline, I was curious when they were going to bring Naz Reid back in, because it was very evident with 3 possessions in a row where Rudy Gobert, Anthony Edwards tried to hit him on a roll, which is difficult because that's not really what he does, but you understand you're trying to keep him engaged, but it was too late in the game to be passing him the ball so far away from the basket. That's one. Then he had an offensive foul. Then he had another turnover. So it's 3 straight possessions where you couldn't afford that while you're chipping away and you already had yourself in a big hole. That one was tough. So I was wondering when they were going to bring Naz Reid back in the game, just for more of the offensive punch, even though Nikola Jokic had it going on.
Yeah, he did. Speaking of, we're talking about prodigies, and I mean, my God, Anthony Edwards, even in the loss, and I know a couple turnovers, but he's just ridiculous. I mean, he's taking his game to just another level, and these playoffs have been that coming out. Like, we all knew how great he was and how talented, but I'm sorry, like he's on another level now. He's 22. And it's to the point where he's such a dominant force. I mean, he's special.
It's undeniable how talented he is, how good he is. He's going to be one of the faces, if not the face, of the NBA in the next 2 to 3 years because of how good he is. And look what he's doing also. He's doing that in Minnesota. That was supposed to be Karl Anthony Towns' team. It was for a very long time. And you could see it very clearly, even as early as a year ago, that, oh, this is really going to be Anthony Edwards' squad. There's no question about it. And I do give Karl Anthony Towns credit because he accepted that eventually, just handing that over. He tried to hold on to it as long as he could, but the alpha on that team is Anthony Edwards. He's a 3-level scorer. When he's dialed in defensively, and he is that good where he is, you can argue again when he does that he's the best two-way player in basketball just because of how talented he is.
You Kobe with that stuff.
He has it all, man. He really does have it all. And the other part, of course, this season is not over with, but he's going to be on Team USA. He's going to be with those guys this summer. While he was on the team last year, they did not get a medal while they were overseas for FIBA basketball. He's going to be on Team USA with Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Stephen Curry, and so many others, where he's going to be able to pick their brains too, even though he is where he is and he is one of them already. Being in that atmosphere for a month and a half with those players, picking their brains and being the next one, that's going to be something even better for us to watch as fans to see what he does next season with that Minnesota team.
Yep, I'm with you. News of the day brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out TrueMark.com/PHLY. Stop in your local branch to learn more about the credit union difference at TrueMark Financial today. It's a shame with all the injuries in that Knicks series because it just went upside down.
It has, and the way that they run, and with the injuries hitting New York, the way that I'm speaking of Indiana, but the way that Indiana has runs and the way that New York plays, they need all the healthy bodies that they can have out there on the floor. So missing OG Anunoby, most importantly, that's a huge one because of his defense, and he can get things going offensively, but just his defensive ability to slow them down in the way that they like Indiana to run the floor. So right now, you couple that with the minutes that Tom Thibodeau played those players in the Sixers series, and then playing them the amount of minutes that they played through the first now 4 games, 3 games since the game 4 was a blowout. That was going to take a toll eventually if it became a closer game where you had to again have those bodies readily available to beat this Indiana squad. I still believe that New York is the better basketball team, but to your point, the injuries are taking over and knocking them down. We're giving Indiana a chance, so they're a little more healthy right now while they have some nicks and some bruises. Tyrese Halliburton not healthy, but he's showing up these last 2 games specifically in Indiana. Now the question is, can he and that team take it on the road one more time where they had chances to win in games 1 and 2? They did not. Now you come back, you have that momentum going for you, and of course the injuries going against New York. Can Indiana find a way to win a game on the road?
So you have that series. Boston's going to beat Cleveland. We know that. And then it's out west. I love the Dallas OKC series. I liked OKC, but man, Dallas playing some good ball. I mean, Luka didn't look right. He looked great the other night, though.
I thought this was an OKC series also, like you. And then Dallas, the way that Luka and Kyrie are playing off of one another, and then you have the others now chipping in. Tim Hardaway is back; he's a little more healthy, so he chipped in a big way in game number 3.
And then they're bigs like Gafford, right? Like
that's exactly
Lively,
PJ Washington, PJ Washington,
yeah.
Big pickup at the trade deadline. Wasn't sure how this would play out. It's played out very, very well for them. So he's found a home. So
game 2 was ridiculous.
Guy,
banging threes and
exactly.
What do you have? 37.
Then he follows it up and plays well in game 3. And to your point, you got Lively, who has been starting pretty much all season long. Local guy. He's playing for Dallas, and he's still young, he's still raw with everything with the playoffs, but he knows his role. Daniel Gafford coming in off the bench, the other big pickup at the trade deadline from Washington for them. So they have it going. And again, adding Tim Hardaway Jr. and his shooting back in it because Maxi Kleber is out, so his shooting is taken away. Jason Kidd has done a really nice job, but it all starts with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. And when Kyrie Irving is playing in this way, this is the guy that's the top 15 player in the NBA. It's no question about it. And he's playing some really good basketball right now. They're in a really good place. And to your point, while I do see OKC probably winning one more game, I think now I'm with you. I think Dallas is going to be the team that's in the Western Conference Finals because of how they are getting contributions from everywhere. Dante Exum coming in, playing his role as a defender and a ball handler to just help out in that way. So that's a fun basketball team too. The Western Conference basketball is the playoffs are really fun between those four teams.
They're incredible. So I bring up the playoffs to then take it full circle. And so what we've learned as we're building a team that has all kind of a clean kind of slate. Like, you get Joe, you get Maxey. And what are we putting around you is the big question for Morey. And what have we learned during these playoffs and how you attack the build? And I'll tell you, for me, and I know they're going to offer him a deal, and I get why they have to, but I'm not in love with PG, dude. I'm just not in love with him. He's
had playoff moments. While the playoff P thing is a fun attack Paul George because he hasn't coming up big in the playoffs in the postseason, he's had some moments. Of course, the Indiana days where he was at his best. The 2021 playoffs in the Western Conference Finals against the Phoenix Suns, where Kawhi Leonard was down. He was fantastic. He and both Reggie Jackson for the Clippers. And this season, at least he was the one that was the healthiest. He didn't have a great playoff run, but he was the healthiest. I'm not in love with the contract either, but we rank the players on the show because the one thing that we all recognize, and Daryl Morey said it in his post-season press conference, he mentioned wings, and they're not going to be a lot available, and they're going to have to find a way to get one of them, whoever them is, via free agency or trade. The names, of course, Paul George, Jimmy Butler, and we even discussed Brandon Ingram as a trade possibility. You're going to need one of them. When we ranked them on Friday, I believe it was, I did have Paul George first because of, I don't love the contract. However, when we discussed the two-way ability, the shooting that's important around Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, because, of course, you don't know what else Daryl Morey is going to build for the other two starting roles, you need to have someone who can shoot the basketball in the mold of that wing.
He fits the suit. Like if I said to you, try the suit on, he fits it every which way.
Yep.
Except what's inside the suit, it worries me, man. I just seen him fail. And I don't know how interested he is to come to Philadelphia and be in a cauldron and know how you have to win now. I almost like Ingram as a better fit. You got to trade for him, but I like it better in the sense that Paul George is a bigger name, and Paul George comes with a different set of expectations. Whereas Ingram kind of slides in, after Embiid and Maxey.
Yeah, I had him third. Liked the player a lot. I just question, to your point, when you say fit in the suit, I've also seen where Brandon Ingram has disappeared in moments where I haven't liked it.
He's a Tobias light, or Tobias. He's got Tobias qualities at times. No lie. But again. And I get, I just don't know you could count on him between the health, between disappearing, between is he into it. I just don't know if, I question that. It's a big question.
Well, where's Butler fit into that for you then? If those two, where do you have Butler in there?
I hear that it's unlikely that Jimmy's he's going to use this to stay in Miami. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I hear.
Yeah.
But listen. Jimmy's got the dog, right? So Jimmy wins. The only question with Jimmy is, what's he have left for how long, and can he stay on the floor?
Yep. So even with it, nothing's perfect with these players that we're talking about. It could have been the Siakam trade during the trade deadline. Could have been the OG Anunoby. They decided against it to just attack the offseason the way that we're going to find out in June, as early as the draft or free agency.
Siakam would have been it. Would have been perfect fit.
Yeah, he would have been interesting. Of course, the nickname
factor,
where are they?
Yeah.
Where are they? I don't know enough. You read stuff coming from Toronto that it wasn't great on the way out. So where would that have factored into the decision to trade him at the trade deadline? And I'd imagine that was something that they did talk about. But yeah, I don't think anything is, as you said, the mold, the suit, he fits it perfectly. But coming back east, he hasn't been back east since the Indiana days. Does he really want it? Yeah, you'd have to imagine he wants to stay at home in Los Angeles playing for that team, and for it not to work out and then settle for going now back all the way back cross country to Philadelphia, regardless of the relationship he may have with Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. Yeah, that's going to be something that he and his family are going to have to adjust to again. So I'm curious about that. But right now, today, if we start with those three, Paul George is the one. And is that enough? Is that good enough, to your point of watching the rest of these playoffs? Can they win with those three as your features in the postseason against any of these teams?
How about the marketing? Remote, you got to trade for, but I like marketing.
Danny Ainge is going to have you over a barrel with that. So I don't see it happening because he's going to start somewhere in that 4 first-round picks, maybe even 5, some sort of pick swaps to go into the combination of those first round picks.
I think
the player fits perfectly. Yeah, he's
stretches it, shoots
slide him right into that starting 5, right next to Embiid into that role, and in the shooting, the ability to put the ball on the floor. No worries. He's young. The contract is very, very good. You re-sign him once Embiid is eventually finished or on his way out.
That's why I think it's worth. That's why I would do the 4.
Yeah, it's gonna be hefty, and if you would do the 4, and then Danny Ainge would try to push you to 5.
I know,
that's what Danny Ainge does.
Yeah, I know. Right, I still hate him. Hate him from back in the day, brother. Sure. I could talk all day, man. I love just chop it up. Talking hoop is the best.
Always fun, man. Thanks for having me.
Best of the girls.
It. I will. Thanks, man.
Thanks, buddy. The great Devon Givens checking in, talking some hoop with me, indulging in the process. He's terrific. Check him out. The all PHLY lineup is the best. All right. And he's with Devon. Devon's with Kyle and Derek, who do such a great job covering basketball. All right, time now for the brain.
Brain. Brad the Brain Feinberg.
Brad the Brain Feinberg is back. This portion of the Anthony Gargano Show brought to you by Rite Aid. Stock up on allergy relief. Catch up on immunizations for RSV, shingles, and more. Walk in or schedule a vaccine appointment at riteaid.com. Good morning, Bradley. How was your weekend, buddy?
Well, I was, as you know, Anthony, I was in Minnesota. Went to Game 3. You know, it's funny because I go with my son. We always pick like a playoff game, like a road trip. We're always hoping the Sixers are going to be there. They never are. But it's funny. He goes, I want to go to Indiana Knicks Game 3, and I'm like, I can't do it. I go. I've never vetoed him. I'm like, I can't watch the Knicks. I can't watch that team play. I just have such a dislike for them. So I'm like, look, let's go to Minnesota, Denver. How could that not be a good game? Well, Anthony, I see a vintage Denver performance, but yeah, I mean, it was fun going, but man, I picked the wrong game, my friend. Game 3 would have been great to watch the Knicks lose on that Hail Mary shot. It would have made me the smile on my face. I'm still smiling. But we will see. Yeah, but it was a good weekend. I was surprised, actually. I actually did bet.
Atmosphere like in Minnesota.
In Game 4.
What was the atmosphere like in Minnesota?
Disappointing. Disappointing. I would tell you that, Anthony. It was not as good as a crowd that I personally was expecting. It was not electric.
Not electric. Really?
No, it was not.
Coming back Game 3, you're up 2-0. And then, I mean, I know how the game ended, but wow.
I got to tell you, Anthony, hand on the Bible. The most excited the crowd got. Now, again, part of it, again, you know, they lost by 90. I get it. At the end of the game, there was some guy I never heard of. I thought I knew every player in the NBA. There was some dude who came in And with like 20 seconds left in the game for Denver, I never saw the guy. I think he played at Clemson. But anyway, you have to. I guess they have one of those things. You miss 2 free throws, you get something. He missed the first free throw. That was the loudest the crowd got when he missed his first free throw. By far, it was not like a Philly crowd. It was, now again, part of it, I'm sure they lost by a zillion, but no, disappointing. Very disappointing. It was not the atmosphere I was expecting. And as a Philly guy, I always loved the big crowds and those kind of things. So, but it wasn't there.
Wow, that's interesting. Very interesting. All right, and then last night I was just talking to Devon about it. I expected Minnesota last night to dictate that series, come out, and they came out and they got a little bit of a lead, and all of a sudden it just evaporated, and then they're scratching and clawing the whole game. Get back in.
I got to tell you something, Anthony. Did you see Malone after the game, what he said? It really stuck with me. I don't know if you saw his press conference. He goes something to the effect, this reminds me of when it goes sometimes what Rudy Tomjanovich said. Remember that when Rockets won back-to-back titles, if you remember that, Anthony, they were down like 3-1, like a bunch. It seemed like every series, and they just kept winning in 7. And he's like, never underestimate the heart of a champion. And Denver has a team that I have been incredibly bullish on all year. I picked Minnesota to win this series with due respect to Denver. And then it was 2-0, I have to admit. I was like, okay, the king is dead.
It was 2-0, right.
Yeah, the king is dead, and look, Minnesota is the future. They have such a good roster. They have the length to bother teams. Edwards is becoming arguably a top 3 player in the league. And then look, again, never underestimate the heart of a champion. I was incredibly impressed, and I got to tell you, being at the game, the one thing that impressed me was I'm talking about Game 3, but Murray looked a lot better health-wise. He was terrific, at least in Game 3. He looked back to what he was. And Anthony, it's interesting.
Played good last night too.
When I watch Jokic play, like I don't know about you, it's just fascinating when you watch these guys play in person. Yeah, look, he's obviously phenomenal, but he's one of those guys, I swear, he looks like he plays in slow motion. I wonder how he's as dominant as he is. Like, I just wouldn't, like, if I was a scout, which obviously I'm not, you don't need me to tell you that, I'm not. But when I watch him, it's like when you watch Anthony Edwards, I'm like, you just see the athleticism,
Sure.
you see it. Like you don't even need it. You see why he's so tremendous. Embiid, I see it. Jokic, when I watch him, I'm just like, he never misses. He's so efficient. He's so smart.
No, listen. I totally get what you're saying. What the marvel in Jokic is how fluid and deliberate, and the game.
Yeah, he's deliberate. That's a good
and the game
word to
feels
use.
like when you watch him, it does feel like he's in slow motion. It feels like the game slows down, and it's an interesting kind of phenomenon because you could see how much it slows down in his own mind because he sees the floor so amazingly well. But you, as if watching him, the game slows as well. It's fascinating.
That's exactly right. It's like a phenomenal watching. The game does slow down, and but I'll say this, his decision making, he does everything right. But again, if I was just watching, I'd say, I just wouldn't, again, I'm not taking anything, I'm doing the opposite. I'm giving him an incredible amount of credit.
There you are.
I wouldn't think he'd be this all-time NBA player, which he is, clearly. 3 MVPs. The guy averages a triple-double. He does, potentially going back-to-back titles. He clearly is an all-time great. He's on that pantheon now. I think he's deservedly gotten into, look, he's not Kareem, he's not Shaq.
What's interesting, though?
But
Bird had similar qualities where the game slowed down, right? Because when you have bigs Bird was 6'9", right?
6'10", yes,
right. Like Bird was big. I mean, he could see the floor. He was an amazing passer, right? And Jokic same way. He's got a couple inches on him, but he sees the floor so well. Like his passing is so crisp. Different level.
Yeah,
I mean,
Bird said his favorite player to watch, Anthony, was Jokic, which makes sense. He said this is the guy that reminds me most of him. So that's pretty good comp what you just said, and he's just he's terrific. I
I marvel that he's that unstoppable because he's not athletic at all. Really, he doesn't have like the athleticism some of these other guys you see. Like, and I'm just amazed. And just, but you can't see. He's a bull down there. You can't stop him. He's the best passer in the league. I guess it's just look. It was fun. I enjoyed watching him.
Great hands, great vision, great touch.
Yeah,
right.
Amazing. His touch is great on this, like floaters and everything. He just makes every shot.
While he may not be explosive athletically, his movement is effective. Like he's crafty with his feet. Like if you watch him, like his movements are all crafty, which is which is bird-like.
He's a guy who, in my opinion, Anthony, I don't think he's going to play a ton of years. Not because he can't. I think he could stay as long as he wants. Because I think this guy, if he wanted to, I just think he doesn't have the desire, based on things I've heard in interviews with him, that he's probably just going to retire earlier than when he could. But I think this guy would age incredibly well and could just play as long as he wants because of his mind, his feel for the game, his touch, he just has that sense of basketball. His basketball IQ is probably, LeBron's right there too. Those are two of the guys. Obviously, are great players, but they have such a high basketball IQ where they feel like they know the game better than any coach. And it's just he just knows the game. But I enjoyed watching him in person and really just trying to decipher his greatness, so to speak. And but it really was in slow motion, which is a compliment because there's no other play I've seen where I felt like everything kind of just paused when he had the ball and. He knows what he's doing, and he's just, again, I give Denver credit, Anthony. Again, I admit, I thought when it was 2-0, I'm like, I thought it was done. I thought we were a little bit changing in the guard. I was wrong. Certainly it's not done, and right now Minnesota's in a heap of trouble.
All right, so let me ask you this. Because the big story of Major League Baseball was Saturday, the Wonderkin makes his debut. Paul Skeens, now that kid has got amazing movement. I mean, did you
ridiculous.
See any of the highlights off?
I did.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. It's interesting. I did bet at the opening him over 5.5 Ks. It closed at 6.5, which I thought was the right number. But he's not. Look, he's the most hyped guy since Strasburg. Okay, in my opinion, and the guy, his stuff is ridiculous. I can tell. Look, he's going to be dominant. There's not even a question about that. Question is how many innings will he go per start, things such as that. But the Pirates, Anthony, with Jared Jones and this guy, watch out, National League. They will be a force for the next 5-6 years. Yeah, well, but with those two, I think you can make the argument they will be two of the best 5 pitchers the next 5 years in Major League Baseball. They have 2 of them on their roster, so that's going to raise the IQ of their manager right off the bat, right? So to me, Anthony, this is a team that they've been bad forever. If they go on a Tampa Bay Rays kind of run, small market, right, but just have good players, I think it's going to be tough to hold this team down. Disappointing some of the guys like young players like Henry Davis, first pick in the draft, hasn't really hit yet. But just with those 2 pitchers, Anthony, I think this team's going to be a team on the rise, and I'll be looking to maybe take their futures next year. This is not the year for them, but next year, Skeens first, be a second year. Jones full second year. I expect an innings bump from both guys. I am letting people know, getting in advance. Pittsburgh Pirates next year will probably be my one of my biggest investments.
By the way, another kid, the Mets have a kid, and we'll see him on Thursday, Christian Scott, who's a lefty. He pitched against the Braves Saturday, and he only got beat. I mean, he only gave up 3 runs, like 6. He struck out 8. And he only got beat like on I think a home run or wherever it was. But that kid's good too. He went the same day Skeens went.
Let me ask you a question. Maybe I'm just missing someone blatantly. In the last, I'm going to say 25 years, I'm going to give you Aaron Nola. How many good hometown pitchers have the Phillies developed?
Oh, dude, we've been talking about that forever.
Oh, okay. Because it's actually almost impossible. No, but it's almost
never
impossible.
Developed pitchers other than Nola. Yeah.
No, but it's actually, if you think about it, think about the math on it. Like, this is how my mind thinks. Think of the math.
And Schilling was,
came
over as a prospect. Yeah.
Yeah. If you put anyone who even just can read and say, just follow whatever anyone says should be the high picks, how can you have so few good pitchers that you develop. It's almost impossible.
Hamels was the other one, right?
Hamels, absolutely,
Yeah.
Cole Hamels.
Yeah.
Yep, Cole Hamels, you're 100% right. Yeah, of course, Cole Hamels.
No.
Okay, those are two, and those are two damn good ones. So again, I never take anything away on that. Two damn
but
good ones.
your point is correct. I mean, it's a long time. They don't, again, Carlton was a trade. Like, there's nobody that
Halliday was a trade.
Right.
Cliff Lee was a trade.
Yes.
Zach Wheeler was a free agent.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me that it's just been like this long. You usually wouldn't have this kind of a drought.
Have a lot of great prospects. I mean, Sixto Sanchez.
Sixto Sanchez, he had like the 1 year he was decent.
I mean, he got beset by injuries. I think he was legit.
But Painter to me is the guy that it's a shame he got hurt. Yeah. Maybe I'm not writing him off. Clearly, he's still young. But that's the guy that seemed like he had the chance to break the drought and maybe become like the next Hamels / Nola. But we'll see.
All right, so what do you got for us? The big brain, Brad'sBestBets.com, Brad'sBestBets.com, at Brad's Best Bets on Twitter. You got to follow him. He's going to make you money. What do you got?
And then I'm going to go Jason Tatum. Now, we're going to take his under in rebounds. He averaged 8 during the year. Okay, now, playoffs, he actually has been better. But even with like a slight bump in men's standing, it's only a slight bump because he played a ton during the regular season. He averaged 8. I'll say this, Anthony. He has to get 11 rebounds, okay? Even if I'm giving him a bump, which I think was a fair bump to closer to 9, 10.5, I just think is too high. Now, again, I will say this in fairness. He's only 3-5 to the under so far in the playoffs. He's actually gone over this 5 out of 8 times in the playoffs. But I'm still going to trust the math over literally his entire career. Not just this year, but every year. He's more of a 7.5, 8 rebounder. To get to 11, unless you're Josh Hart, that's a big number, Anthony. So to me, I just think 10.5. You can lay minus 136 on the Park site right now. I think it's a little bit too high. We're going to go Jason Tatum under 10.5 rebounds. I say he gets closer to 9 or 10 or 8, like that under. Next, SGA. Same kind of thing here, Anthony. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, OKC. 7.5 rebounds. I think the over-under is too high here. He averaged, look, Anthony, during the year, he averaged 5.5 rebounds, okay? Now, he is getting a minutes bump, okay? He is getting a minutes bump, 20% more minutes. I can get to 6.5. That's all I can get to. 7.5, that is the sweet spot. This is the highest it's ever been. This is the first time all year he's had a 7.5, Anthony. It should be 6.5. When he lands on 6, or 7, sorry, when he lands on 7, you'll be like, man, you said it. You called it. That is the sweet spot because we're getting a free 7, Anthony. We're playing craps. We can't. That's the best. Well, the worst number, but that is the sweet spot, Anthony. I like SGA under 7.5 rebounds, Anthony. The line should be closer to 6.5. And I'll give you a pitching prop, Anthony. Michael Lorenz, our old friend, pitched a no-hitter here in Philadelphia. But what he doesn't do, Anthony, he doesn't strike out, guys. He's going against one of the hardest teams in all of Major League Baseball, Cleveland Guardians, to strike out. 4.5 Ks, 3-2 to the under this year, 10-6 his last 16 last year. Tough matchup. Plus, it was, I think, only minus 102 juice on the Park site right now, Anthony. Give me Michael Lorenz in under case.
The underhuman achievement king, Brad Feinberg.
I'm consistent, man. I'm consistent.
Are the brain.
Yeah,
I hear you. Listen, that's why you do make money.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you an over. I'm going to give you an extra bonus pick over.
All right.
I don't have the juice right, but I'm going to give because now I feel guilty. Luka Doncic, we're going to go over 8.5 assists.
I like it. I like that. Luka over. There he is. Pro humankind. I love it. we love your brain. Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate it. Good luck to everyone out there.
There he is, the brain. Check it in. All right, coming up, Baldy. We'll go to Baldy. I want to talk work with Baldy. I'm looking forward to this because he came from an era of football where it was work. And I talked to a lot of people around the Eagles, and one of the issues was, did those guys work hard enough, right? Like they made a deal about minicamp after the Super Bowl and the whole thing. And sometimes, you look at nowadays and you look at the need for work. Now, did they work hard enough? We'll discuss that. We'll also talk about the new coordinators. I want to pick Baldy's brain about everything coming up. But first, let me tell you about Rite Aid. All right? look, maybe you need some vaccines, right? Like I told you about the plight of cousin Joey. No good. Shingles. No good, man. He was like, now he's an animal, so he went out. I think he went to a concert and he was out, had the shingles. He's like, well, I'll just drink while I'm. He's like, dude, it was really highly painful. So do yourself a favor. If you're in that age group where you need it, do yourself a favor. Do not mess around with shingles, all right? Shingles can be nasty, all right? Absolutely nasty. 1 in every 3 people in the United States will have it in their lifetime. If you had chickenpox, you are at risk for shingles. More than 99% of Americans born in or before 1980 had chickenpox, even if you don't remember it. So as you get older, you're at risk for having shingles, and serious complications increase, all right? So make sure you deal with that. But again, it could be pneumonia, tetanus, whooping cough, chickenpox, whatever it is. Rite Aid, you're there. And listen, when it comes to that stuff, I'm like you. I'm suspect, right? Like I go, That's why the Rite Aid pharmacists are key. So I asked them for everything. What do you think about this? I got a question. I got a concern. They're there to help you. All right? That's why I love Rite Aid. It's your neighborhood pharmacy, man. Every society needs a neighborhood pharmacy, right? Or you walk in, any of your questions. I talk about allergies all the time. Well, they'll give you the right advice. RiteAid.com. You can walk in or schedule an appointment for any of your vaccines. RiteAid.com. Monday through Friday, 10 a.m., 6 p.m. State age, health restrictions may apply. Ask your Rite Aid pharmacist for details.
All righty, cuz. Well, guys, let's talk about Mortgage CS here because, over the weekend I saw some buddies and listen, as a young homeowner, I know how daunting it is looking at the house market right now. It's pretty scary stuff. These house prices are going up, and of course, those interest rates are going up as well. That's why Mortgage CS is here for us. Now, they can't really help out with those rising mortgage rates, those interest rates, but what they can help is they can get you into a house with a solid rate before they start skyrocketing even further. And that's the beauty of the great people over at Mortgage CS. Values are expected to keep going up, so don't put off buying just because rates are slightly elevated, guys. Refinancing with Mortgage CS is straightforward as well. When rates drop, Mortgage CS will monitor your refinance opportunities and ensure you save money responsibly. You don't want to pay a ton of fees when you refinance. You'll never get that at Mortgage CS. And in the end, you'll be so happy you texted Ben, our boy Ben, the CEO, one of the best Philly sports fans that we have here today. Right now on the bottom left of the screen, you can see Ben Sucker, the CEO's cell phone number, 267-391-7425. Text him right now, guys. Ask him what he thinks about this Cavan Sullivan news. It's Mets week. I'm sure he has a lot to say about that as well. Or you can also get some friendly advice about house buying here today. That is what Ben Stucker and Mortgage CS is here for. So you can text him again, 267-391-7425. Or you can also go to mortgagecs.com/PHLY to check it out here today. Guys, they have over 350 plus reviews here on Google. And you can best believe they're all 5-star reviews. You can check it out for yourself. Make sure you check out Mortgage CS. And thank you to our friends over at Mortgage CS.
All right, we've reached the 10 o'clock hour on the program. This portion of the Anthony Gargano Show brought to you by the BetParx Sportsbook and Casino app. All right, download it. You heard the stuff that the big brain on the daily grind always brought to you by BetParx. You can play it right there. Now, joining us, the one, the only, the legend, Baldy.
Baldy. Oh, let's talk some football. Baldy. Oh, he likes pizza and football.
Oh, Baldy.
That's all right. Morning, cuz.
Good morning, my brother. How you feeling, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm just on the mend. I'm going to get some stitches out today, get a little bit more movement in this elbow, and, get going. It's a big week here. The schedule's coming out, so nothing's really going to stop me or slow me down from what I got to do.
Well, I saw you on the beach looking like the Bionic Man,
Yeah.
watching the air show down in Florida.
Yeah. Well, my dad was a pilot, helicopters, jets, F-15s, you name it. He flew them. So I was always
didn't know
around
that.
planes. Yeah, yeah. He was a pilot in the Marine Corps for Boeing, test pilot, FAA. Like he had his license in so many different aircraft. So I see these things and I see these air shows and I go, people, I mean, these pilots, they look like they walked right out of Top Gun. They just they have a special skill. Like it's not easy to become one of those pilots like that. So I got a lot of respect for him. It was good day.
Have you ever been in a fighter jet?
No, I have never been in an F-15. Like the ones that the Thunderbirds were flying the other day. They're just one seat cockpits. So there's just no room. Now there's some other jets. You could get in, but I have not been in one. I'm not sure that I'm ready for that. Speed of sound, going up into the atmosphere like that, it's not exactly going to feel good in my stomach. I know that.
Yeah, but if there's anybody that can handle it, it's Baldy. All right?
Yeah.
Let's be real. Like, helicopters, are you a helicopter man?
Yeah, big helicopter guy. Bell Jet Ranger, Sikorsky's. I've been on top of rooftops, delivering mail, picking up customers. I've put those birds down on lakes and, landed people down there. I kind of done some heavy lifting. I remember one time we were up in Minnesota. There was a big tornado cloud coming right at us. Had to put that bird down on a farmer's field, run for shelter. Thankfully, nothing happened. I've seen a lot of.
Wait. All right. Before we get into everything, I need more of this story. So tell me the story from the beginning. All right. Like you just can't go, I put the bird down in the field, the tornado, we're running from the tornado cloud. Yeah. You gotta set this up. I need this story.
So my father and three of his buddies from the Marines, they started this company in Minneapolis called Imperial Airways. They're actually out of Lakeville, Minnesota. They had like 3 or 4 helicopters, and they did everything. I mean, they delivered mail. I remember we picked up John Denver at a concert in Ames, Iowa one time. Just whatever it was. I mean, you could book these Bell Jet Rangers for about any occasion. So we were flying from Lakeville to St. Cloud, Minnesota. All right. So St. Cloud's kind of in the middle of the state. Anyways, we're flying to St. Cloud, and it's like probably June or July. We're going, and we know that there's some bad weather up ahead. We just don't know what it's going to look like. So we're like cautious and everything. My dad's not up, he's everything by the books. But we see a black funnel, like in front of us. I mean, it's impossible to miss what that looks like. There's only one thing that looks like that. And as soon as we saw it, we turned around and we thought we could outrun it. We didn't know how fast it was going. And my dad saw a farmer's field, had a big old, like they had some shelter there and stuff. He's like, let's just put this thing down. Let's just see where this thing goes. Let's don't try to outrun it, whatever. And that's what we did. We put that bird down in some farmer's field up there in central Minnesota. Had a little shelter with some trees and a big old barn and all that kind of stuff. And we just kind of sat it out, let it go by. Yeah.
Did the storm go past you, or what happened?
It didn't go in that direction. It was going in a different direction. And they're very, tornadoes are very specific. I mean, you can tear up one side of the street, and on the other side of the street, there could be no damage. It's a very odd path. And the path of destruction is you just don't know where it's going to land.
No, dude, it was frightening because one went through 2 years ago or 3 years ago, Mullica Hill, where I live in Jersey.
Oh, really?
It was nasty. Like, I mean, there's still areas that aren't fully recovered from it. Like,
oh, for sure.
Oh my! Poor people lost their homes. It was awful, man. It's frightening. That thing is frightening. All right, I got to ask you. There's a lot to discuss here today. So I was talking to a lot of people around the Eagles, and one of the common themes that came up, and even Sirianni himself talked about it, that maybe they need to work harder, all right? Like, that they didn't work hard enough, right? Like, really, after they won the Super Bowl, the mini camp, they didn't even get together for mini camp, and training camp is not what training camp was. But hard work, can you discuss this for a second when it comes to understanding and building for football? And you come from a different school of hard work.
Yeah. Well, they didn't work hard enough, cuz. I mean, you go out there and watch them maybe in a scrimmage against Cleveland, and, maybe you got some assimilation of in the heat in August last year, like they were getting after it. Okay, a couple days, but there was so many days where it's just a glorified walkthrough, and they're not doing enough. And I understand. Look, they got a lot of veterans, Lane and Fletcher and Kelsey, and you want to kind of put those guys on a pitch count. I get that, but I'll never forget this story. And I'm not dodging the story. I just want to tell a story to illuminate what you're talking about, cuz. Yeah. I remember one time I'm down the Baltimore Ravens, and they're having an intra-squad scrimmage. John Madden's got his bus there. It's a big show. It's a Saturday afternoon intra-squad scrimmage. And I go out there for the NFL Network. I'm covering. So I get Ray Lewis and Ed Reed coming up to me. And they're saying to me, Baldy, if you don't tell the world what Harbaugh is doing to us, he's killing us. I go, what do you mean he's killing you? He goes, we're out here 3 hours every day. Our tongues are dragging on the ground. There's Haloti Nada over there. Like, we're not going to make it through the season if we go through that. I go, well, have you talked to him? He goes, no, but I figure, we got to put some pressure on him from the media. I go, okay, I'll say something, but you need to go in there and talk to Harbaugh yourself. So anyways, I do Ray and Ed a favor. I kind of let them know that this thing is the hardest camp they've been through. They're up there in years. They're worried about, getting through the season. You know what Harbaugh says to him? He said, look, if you guys need to take yourself out of a drill, take yourself out of a drill. He goes, but we got rookies and second-year players that we're going to need in January and December, and we got to get those guys ready. So I'm going to get those guys ready to play. You do what you got to do. You need to take a day off, take the day off. But I'm not going to stop what I'm doing because those guys, we need them. And I never forgot that, going, all right, Lane, Fletcher, Kelsey, I get it. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Milton Williams, these guys need work, cuz they need work. And I didn't think they worked hard enough when I saw them, and I'm not saying I'm out there every day. But what happens is you see a lackadaisical effort in games. And one of the reasons why they were a poor tackling team last year, and they were a poor tackling team, is they didn't rally to the ball the way you got to rally to the ball. And I put some examples up during the season, some of them breakdowns. Not enough, though. I mean, you go all the way to the playoff game and just see guys, they just didn't play hard enough. And I think that starts in practice.
Listen, I do too. And I get, now I want you to, speak of the story time, I want you to tell people, because believe me, I'm not saying that they should go back to 1982, right? And Dallas, right? I'm not saying that. But the pendulum sometimes can swing too far. So, but I want just so we understand what real work is. Training camp starting around July 8th, 9th, right? And then talk about how many preseason games, what practices were, 2-a-days, what they were like. Enlighten people about, because this is the height of work.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, I mean, I was a rookie in 1982. Landry, Tom Landry was our coach. He helped build the roster by signing more free agents than anybody on any team at any level ever. But they found a lot of great players. Rayfield Wright, Cornell Green, Bill Bates, Martune, myself. I mean, we found Drew Pearson. I mean, we found a lot of guys that were free agents because of what he did. So we started. We got to training camp on July 13th. We did all this conditioning tests, and then we started full pads on July 14th, 2 straight weeks, every day, morning and afternoon. We practiced from basically 9 to 11:30 every morning, and we practiced from 2:30 to 5 every afternoon. All right. So and we had a break in the middle. So we went 2.5. We conditioned after every morning practice, and we conditioned after every afternoon practice. And we did that for 6 straight weeks, and he never took a day off. We had an inter-squad scrimmage before the preseason game started that went for 3 hours. Then we conditioned after that, and everybody basically collapsed on the field. So what would happen was we would practice before the veterans got there. We thinned the ranks of 110 free agents and 15 draft picks, 125 rookies. We probably thinned it to probably like 60 or 70 rookies by the time the veterans got there. And we were basically the dummy squad for all the vets. So I would line up and I would take 32 zone blocks against the number 1 defense at left guard. So I got a chance to play against Randy White, Don Smerick, John Dutton, really good players every day. And they would just go to the huddle, look at the card, go do the blocking assignment. And we would go live, where we always in full pads. We never took the pads off. So that's what my day was every day. And then we would do all the individual drills, half-line drills, one-on-one pass rush, team drills, tack, all that stuff. Well, we did that for 6 weeks. Now, back then, guys didn't tear ACLs. We didn't have guys that missed seasons. I mean, by and large, I didn't miss a day of practice until maybe my 4th year in the league, and I had a knee scope. But guys, the conditioning and the hitting condition the body. And we just didn't get the injuries that we see right now. Now, I'm not saying that that's the cure-all, but that's how it was. That's how it was every single year. Now, we always got off the fast starts. 1983, we're 7-0. We're like riding high. You know, we finished poorly. And I think a lot of it was we just did too much too early. But regardless, that wasn't just us. I went to Philadelphia, you know, even when Buddy Ryan left and Kotite came in. I mean, we were still in basically full pads at Westchester for 2.5 hours, you know, every morning, every afternoon, just praying for a day off. That's how it was.
Andy ran a tough camp.
We always scrimmaged the Raiders before we ever got to the preseason games.
Yeah. Andy ran a tough camp. Like, I'll never forget early days of Andy. It was nasty. Like,
I remember up at Lehigh, Trotter taking down Westbrook to the ground on the 5th day of practice on a Saturday, like tackling to the ground. Oh, yeah. Andy still runs a tough camp. Anybody will tell you. You go out there to where they're at right now, and they're down there. They practice down in these fields down this valley. It's hot as hell. There's no breeze, and Andy's got him in full pads. He's not it's not a glorified walkthrough. He's still hitting and tackling and bumping and grinding and conditioning those guys pretty good.
What does that do for you? We talk about, because it's funny. I talk to Spags about that all the time. He's like, building calluses, right? Like, so the tangible. What's tangible about building those calluses?
Well, what's tangible is you can't become a good run blocker unless you run block. I mean, you get all the dummies you want, but you're not moving Jalen Carter off the ball. I mean, if you're, I don't know, Tyler Steen this year and you're doing one-on-one block, you're not moving Jalen Carter off the ball unless you're blocking Jalen Carter. And you're not getting any better unless you get your pad level down. And so what Spags is saying is, like, okay, you build calluses, but you're building calluses doing fundamentals. There's not enough time for the fundamentals of the game. And so, Jeff Stoutland has figured out that he can't actually work his guys hard enough right now. He's taking every second on the field to work through his steps, get shoulder to shoulder, get foot to foot, work on their combo blocks, knowing how to get to the second level and picking off linebackers. I mean, that stuff is valuable, but you also, the thing that bothers you the most, honestly, when you're in contact is your neck and your hands. And you got to get your neck in your hands, especially if you're in the trenches. You got to get those calluses built up. Your fingers are going to get gnarled. Your elbows are going to get bent. Your neck's going to get you're going to get some stingers, but you got to fight through that stuff. Otherwise, if you're just going full speed in the game, like, your body's not ready for that full speed contact. You just can't go 0 to 100. I don't believe. And I'm all about player safety, because you see guys are wearing the mesh on top of their helmets to try and reduce the collisions. I'm all for all that. But football is a contact sport, and you've got to get contact before you can really go out there and play the game the way it's supposed to be played.
Meat Locker Conversation brought to you by Butcher Box. butcherbox.com/PHLY to get the meats. The importance of the coordinators, I think we've seen it twice in recent history when it comes to the Eagles. When Doug Peterson lost his coordinators, we saw that the end spiral quickly. We saw last year when after 2 seasons, Sirianni gets both coordinators poached, we saw a devastating slide. Well, now they got 2 veterans, right? Vic Fangio, a true veteran who they run a defense that he designed, and then Kellen Moore, who's got experience play calling now in 2 other spots. How important were those hires?
Critical, because the games. I think we talked about this a little bit, but the games are in the hand of the coordinators. Nick's not calling any plays; he might make suggestions, but Kellen Moore is going to call the plays. Vic Fangio is going to call the plays, and I'm not saying that Nick's not involved. I mean, he's involved, but these guys are not just calling the games on Sundays or Thursday night, whenever it is, but they're making the adjustments during the games. All right, when things aren't going well, or when the teams are doing things that they weren't expecting, they're adjusting then. But it really starts Monday night when they start putting the game plan together. The coordinators, all right, what are we going to do this week against a Dallas team that wants to run the ball? Blah blah. Like are we going to be in a base bare front? Like what front? What's our front this week? I mean, all those things that you start getting ready for when a player comes in and you get the game plan on Wednesday and you're in that team meeting and you're like, this is what it takes to win this game. This is what we're going to emphasize. Like that's all been established by the coordinators. And last year they had 2 very inexperienced guys. I'm not saying they're not good coaches. Brian Johnson, Sean Desai. I'm not saying they're not good coaches, but that's a lot of responsibility, and it starts there. It starts with the game planning all week long, how it's supposed to look, what we're going to try and do, what our purpose is this week, how do we win this game? And then that filters down to all the assistant coaches and to everybody else that's putting that game plan in place for the weekend. So you look at Vic Fangio. Like I remember when Vic was the defense coordinator for Jim Moore in New Orleans, and he probably had as good a linebacking core, as we've ever seen. Ricky Jackson, and just the Pat Swilling. I mean, they were loaded. The Dome Patrol. But even if you go back to when Vic was, say, the head coach in Denver, like he got blown out in his 3rd year there. They won 7 games. Wasn't good enough. I get it. But they had the 3rd-ranked defense in football. Like he built over the course of 3 years, he built a really good defense with not a lot. I mean, Von Miller was there and Justin Simmons was there. He had some guys, but he built the 3rd best defense in football on a team that could just win 7 games.
Yeah, and Kellen Moore having experience play calling, I just think that's I think that's a big deal for them. I do, especially going into an offense, going with adding something for Hurts that he needs. Adding Barkley, you got a lot of talent there on that side of the ball, and building in answers for Hurts is going to be key.
Yeah, but Kellen Moore, you got to look at his, the track record. I mean, he was a backup quarterback in this league. He was a starter at Boise State, backup quarterback. All right, Doug Peterson, backup quarterback. I mean, you look at some of these players now that are head coaches. D'Amico Ryans, player. Like Kellen Moore comes literally from the playing field where he was a backup quarterback, and he steps in and he starts building his resume to the point where he's a competent play caller. And he's going to help the quarterback get in, into better plays, out of bad plays. All that stuff, can help, I think, this year. Helping Jalen Hurts with different movements and motions and where the eyes got to go as a quarterback. I mean, you get a quarterback talking to a quarterback. I think it's going to help. I think it should help. I know that Jalen wants to be coached hard. He wants his weaknesses to be addressed. I think Kellen Moore has the gravitas to be able to do that with Jalen.
All right, last thing I want to go over with you, brother. So we're talking a lot this morning. I was talking about a kid that I saw, Gavin Mason, 11 years old. He looks like a mini Jim Thome, this kid. Hit 2 bombs yesterday. He's got 14 home runs. He plays 11U baseball. All right,
Okay.
like this kid he throws 70 miles an hour. I mean, kid's a stud, right? Like just you see him different, right? There's a story, I don't know if you know it. It was in the Wall Street Journal about a kid that's from this area. All right, Cavan Sullivan, who will be playing for Manchester City of the Premier League, right? He's 14, dude. He's got to stay here for 4 years because of child labor laws in England, and then he can go over and play for Man City. And I'm thinking about youth, right? I'm thinking about these like these wonderkins. Now, football's different because of the physical nature and your own body, right? Like you just have to mature from a body standpoint. But give me the young talents that you saw, like where you went, oh my God, he's a football prodigy. Is there ever been a young player or young players when it comes to prodigies in football? It's so different because of the physical nature, but I'm curious.
Well, I mean, look, I knew Caleb Williams when he was in high school. He was at Gonzaga High School in D.C. Like he was 16 years old when I first met Caleb. I was at a quarterback collective football camp. Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, some great coaches were very involved. And we were in Indianapolis. And I put him in the film room, and I just was showing him some Mahomes and Josh Allen, some coverages, how to attack coverages, where the blitz is coming from, where the sight adjust is. Like, he had all that. Like he already knew that stuff. Like it wasn't like he was like he knew it all. He just could verbalize it, and he could talk about it in a way that it wasn't over his head in any way. And then we went out and I watched him throw the football when I guess he was 16, maybe he just turned 17. But I watched him throw the football, and just his release, his weight transfer, things that some quarterbacks like Carson always struggle with because he was just always bigger and stronger than anybody. He never really learned how to throw a football. He just overpowered a football, and it cost him. It cost him in his accuracy, and it really cost him part of his career. But you watch Caleb just throw a football. Like the weight's on the back foot. He's always in position to throw it, no matter where he's at. Like he had all of that. And so I knew then if he was in a combine when he was 16, 17 years old, he'd have thrown it like you would have. Maybe C.J. Stroud had a like electric combine performance. I mean, he was outstanding. But, you know, I was around Jeff George, you know, when he was the first pick in the draft. I was there in Indianapolis. Like he threw it at that level. You know, he had that kind of release, that kind of like he knew how to throw a football. And you just go, like that guy, it didn't surprise me to see him do what he did in college and become the first pick. None of it surprised me. And in fact, you know, I still stay in touch with him. We still text back and forth a little bit. But like none of that surprised me when I saw him.
How about Andrew Luck, Peyton, like guys that we had heard of, you know, when they were in high school. Caleb.
First time I saw Andrew Luck, his father was he was the president of the World League of American Football. So he was living in Frankfurt, Oliver Luck. So he was the whole president of the league, and I was over there doing games. I remember seeing Andrew Luck at Waldstadion in Frankfurt throw the football when he was 12. Like he was already a big kid. He was already a big kid. He was already throwing it. You know, his dad was quarterback, you know, all this kind of stuff. So he was always having a ball toss down the field. Now, he was also kicking a soccer ball, and he was playing basketball. He was an all-around athlete. But then I remember seeing the next time I saw him, he was his junior year at Stanford, and I was doing a Stanford UCLA game. And they had a play where they had a throwback to the quarterback. So he's in shotgun. You know, they shotgun the ball. They have a reverse come, and he goes out on the backside, and he catches this pass down the field from the wide receiver. One-handed catch at 6'5" and 240 pounds. I go, the guy could start a tight end, like a one-handed catch, like just one of those type of phenoms. Wow. And then I would say my junior year at Duke, our last game was always against North Carolina. So LT was playing for North Carolina. He was a senior. And we're down on the goal line. We got first and goal to 2. And I'm playing left guard. I got my man like in the end zone. We should be scoring. We got a good running back, you know, and you know we go 4 tries, we don't gain anything. In fact, we lose a yard. And I'm like, we don't have pictures or video or anything like that. You got to wait till the next day to see LT make 4 straight plays behind the line of scrimmage. You know, like he was just LT before he was ever LT.
That's awesome. My brother, I could do it all day. Love it. I get you one more day this week to talk schedule, and we'll get into Baldy's travels. So I'm looking forward to that when the schedule release for everybody's bucket list and everything else. So we love you, buddy. Good luck today at the doctor.
Thanks, guys. Good to be with you, bud. I'll talk to you later this week after the schedule.
Thanks, pal. The great Baldy. Love it. A lot of fun. All right, buddy. We're going to get ready for the clubhouse. But first, what are we talking about? A little PHLY?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about what's going on here, ladies and gentlemen. Well, first off, thank you guys. Thank you for choosing us on a Monday morning to talk about a little bit about some Philly sports here. So if you guys are watching, you're enjoying it, do us a solid. Hit that like button and subscribe for all your future viewings of the Anthony Gargano Show. But also, we have a wide range of different podcasts here that have great content as well. So subscribe, hit that bell button. You'll find out when all these shows go live, including the Anthony Gargano Show. You can also listen to us whenever you want. If you want to listen to us on the way to work, on the way to practice, whatever it may be, you can plug us in wherever you stream podcasts. Look us up, the Anthony Gargano Show, and plug it right away in your phone. And of course, guys, it's a great time to recommend and talk about being a diehard. Guys, be a PHLY diehard. We have exclusive content on there from our great writers that you don't want to miss. We have discounts on merchandise. And speaking of that merchandise, guys, make sure you guys are checking out that PHLY locker. We got some great stuff on there as well. The Maximus t-shirts will be coming out soon. Those, Johns, they're crisp. They're beautiful. Can't wait to get my hands on my own there. So definitely check that out there as well. PHLY locker, including the 4for4 t-shirt for the cuz himself. So that's what we got going on here at PHLY. Don't miss a thing, guys. Be part of this great family. We're putting out some great content for you, and we appreciate your love and support always, guys.
Yeah, that's right. Let's talk about the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app for a second, because we love our Bet Parks. So we always talk about it. The big brain on every day does the daily grind to give you selections, the whole 9. Make sure you download the app. There's a million ways to play. We got a big series, Phillies and Mets coming up, right, for 4. And if you just want to bet props, like you want to bet strikeouts, you want to bet home runs, RBI, total bases, whatever you want, you got it right there. You want parlays, same game parlays, live end game, right? Like you see the Phillies, and if you think the Phillies are going to do something, you got it, right? Like make sure you check out the Bet Park Sportsbook app. Check it out. And also, Bet Parks Racing. The Parks Racing has a horse in this Saturday's running of the 149th Preakness Stakes. Uncle Heavy's breeder, in fact, and trainer, our brothers Mark and Butch Reed. Uncle Heavy was bred in 2021 by Mark Reed and his wife Barbara at their farm, Walnut Green in Kennett Square. How about this? His brother Butch Reed trains the horse at Parks Racing in Ben Salem. Very, very cool, man, how it's going to do. The horse was named Uncle Heavy in honor of brother Mark Reed, a former captain of captain of Maryland's wrestling team, and his nickname was Heavy. Pretty cool, man. In fact, Mike Milam, who is from Williamstown, New Jersey, is the majority owner of Uncle Heavy. And he knew the Reed brothers. So it's all about family, and that's why we love our Parks Casino, Street Road, Ben Salem, and our Bet Park Sportsbook. You got to be in PA, New Jersey, Ohio, Maryland. Gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. We'll come back in just a moment at Cousins Clubhouse to hang out. VG, JP, and we'll bat out the weekend with you guys. Welcome back to the program. It's Cousins Clubhouse. JP, John Zapata, VG, Violations, Greg Caputo.
Yo.
So, what's up, boys?
What's going on?
How was your Mother's Day?
It was awesome.
Yeah?
Awesome.
What'd you do?
So I spent the morning with my mom, but then late in the afternoon, we went to Brigantine to see my fiance's mom. I ate a lot yesterday, cuz. Oh my god.
Yeah?
A lot of
Good.
Italian food yesterday. It was good though. It's good seeing the moms.
You had a question, so I think this is interesting.
Yeah.
So pose this.
Yeah.
All right. He had a question, Andrew.
Yeah.
All right.
So, I mean, like, listen, cuz you're not only shaping the future Philly sports fans, but you're shaping Philadelphia men here, cuz, all right?
All right.
So
what's your
my
question?
dilemma was, listen, I love my future mom-in-law. In 2 months, me and my fiance are gonna get married. So I asked this to a lot of, young men around my age, in long-term relationships. So I spent half the day with my mom and the other half with my fiance's mom, because she's still like a mom to me. And I got a lot of different answers, and I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. If you are in a long-term relationship, do you split up Mother's Day, or do you spend it only with your mom?
So it's interesting because it sounds like you have a great relationship with your
definitely.
future mother-in-law. She sounds like an awesome woman.
Yeah, she's awesome.
However, all right, this is the mom rule. Until your wife becomes a mother, right? Which case then she becomes center stage, right? Like she's got to be the center, and you split with her and mom, right? Your own mother. You got to go mom.
Okay.
All right,
Mom all
you got
day.
mom all day.
I feel
All
that.
right, and then if you're white, then you got to merge. Then you merge with her mom, like the whole thing. But until that happens, you got the only mother is your mom.
I hear what you're saying.
So he's got to split up with his partner?
Half the day, I split. Well,
So
both
she goes to her mom and he goes to his mom, and that's it for the day?
Yeah,
so
that's
then you
totally
get
fine.
married. Then once you get married,
I don't know about that.
That's what I do.
yeah. Then you get married, and then it's you split the day up, and then when she becomes a mother and you
Yeah.
have children, then you merge it all together.
So only after marriage
Yes.
do you split the day up.
Correct.
Interesting.
Yes.
All right. So I split the day up. I did
Well,
the
you're
morning.
married.
Yes, I did the morning with my mom. Brought her over some bagels. We hung out.
You don't merge?
We merged, but Pegan's mom is deceased. But we went to the crypt afterwards, so we do split the day. You know, yeah. So we
Well, you gotta do that.
Always do half day with each.
Yeah, that's good. Andrew?
Yeah, I do the my mom first thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I go hang out with my mom. She goes hangs out with her mom. We're not married yet, so I understand like the whole marriage thing. Like you got to share there.
This is my first year doing this too.
Because she becomes your mother-in-law, so she technically
she's
is
gonna
then
have an
your
important part
mother.
of your life.
But you know,
I love my mother-in-law. She's awesome.
there's only one mama,
Right.
and that's my mama.
Right. So
Like the way you put that.
So you spent the day with your mother.
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a good time.
This is my
Yeah.
first year splitting it up, so it was definitely interesting. But I can't wait to have everyone in my house, my kids, my mom's.
Yeah, like then that's the merge piece. But it's still that happens. You gotta be loyal to your mother.
That's true.
You're always loyal to your mother, but you gotta then share the spotlight.
Yeah,
It's a big day.
it is. Yeah, it is.
Now
a big
my
day.
mom and my aunt Cookie, but both my mom and my aunt Cookie, who I loved, passed away. So Tam's mom, we had a night last night, but we spent her day, right? Mm-hmm. Or at the baseball field.
There you go.
Because the moms, like I give it to the moms, right? Because my poor wife, she hasn't had Mother's Day in forever, because they do these Mother's Day tournaments.
Yeah.
Brutal. So these tournaments are all weekend, they last all day, right? Like now,
It's the best.
spitting rain and freezing yesterday.
Oh my god.
Right? Like, she's like, what? Do I gotta go to of course, she goes every year, and the moms, and they do their own thing, right? Like, they bought bottles of champagne. And
That's awesome.
pastries, and they made bellinis, and
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
Listen, they were fun-loving bunch of ladies.
We had Michael Campbell in the comments section said Mother's Day at a Little League baseball field is utter nonsense. Who do these leagues think they are?
Oh, it's a big deal. Yes, all throughout the Delaware Valley, Mother's Day tournaments.
That's wild.
Oh yeah.
Do they do it on Father's Day as well?
Yes.
Nah, nothing on Father's Day. Just golfing and fishing. That'd be crazy. It would be crazy if there were no tournaments on Father's Day.
I mean, yeah, it was. We had. Oh well, one of my favorite Father's Day moments. Moss hit a home run.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
That's a nice gift.
And gave me
Point at you,
gave me the ball.
trotting around.
Yeah, gave me the ball. We took a picture.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome,
That's great.
man.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it was a great Father's Day moment.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome. Like, I love that stuff. So that was yesterday. All right, boys, couple things let's go over. Man, Wheeler yesterday.
Wheels.
It was one of those games where you go, he just doesn't have it. It's amazing. 19 out of 20 games, Wheeler is lights out.
Yep.
And it was that one, and you saw it from the start.
Oh, I knew because I bet over 7 strikeouts by inning 2. I was like, I'm beat. He does not have it today. I don't think he got his first strikeout till the 3rd inning.
Yeah.
He just had no command. He was just missing on the edges. Just couldn't hit the edges at all yesterday.
He's always due for a bad game. And let's not remember. Like, listen, the Marlins may be tanking or whatever the GM wants to say, but they still are pesky. Like they still got some bats in that lineup, and so it's just you just chalk it up to being Wheels day off there.
That place, though, was horrendous.
That's so hard to get.
Like, it was funny. I was watching because we had a game. It was 12:30. I had a break in between. I thought I put the game on, and I hate that stadium's though. That franchise is a trash franchise.
Stadium is nice, but nobody wants to go there.
Did I hear right? Did they not have the air conditioning on? It was like 90 degrees yesterday.
in Miami weather?
Yeah,
No.
I thought that I heard
That's
them say
horrible.
that.
It's just a trash
terrible.
franchise, though. It's horrible. The place is just terrible.
Well-
they don't. It's a sleepy environment. Dude, they should not be there.
Topper was talking about it before Friday's game. He was saying like how it's tough to get your energy up because literally there's no one in there. Like, what are you feeding off? So it's important for the guys in the dugout to kind of get each other up.
There's literally a dude sleeping in the 10th inning. I don't know if you saw him, but he was behind one of the dugouts. They showed, I forget what the scene was, but they showed one of the batters, and he's sitting back there, had glasses on, and he's lounged back, eyes closed, sleeping.
Dude, it was like that. I'll never forget. So that franchise comes from Montreal.
Yep.
So I was in Montreal. I covered games in Montreal, and it was the same thing. There was like 4,000 people there.
Really?
It was, and most of them were smoking throughout the game.
Yeah.
It was just the worst environment ever.
That guy's probably
in the
passed
dome.
out. I mean, you got to pound beers to sit through that environment. You know, I don't know if
So
he's
the
sleeping.
Expos had problems bringing fans out to the games or something.
Oh yeah, there was nobody at the
crazy.
games. Yeah, nobody.
Oh, and then you go to hockey season. The place is packed every night. The
Yeah,
best.
but nobody.
You go to Montreal and there's a Canadians game. There's nobody on the streets.
Yeah.
They are deserted. Everyone's watching it somewhere.
It's like football here.
Yeah.
They just shut everything off and it's
Yeah.
hockey.
No, that's the truth.
Can I get your opinion on something? Because I have a maniac friend who busts on Topper every game, even though they're the best record in
lineup?
baseball. Got to get Wheeler out in the 3rd. You knew he didn't have it. You cannot remove your ace after
no,
3
not
innings.
your
You got to
ace.
let him try and pitch his way out, right?
No,
Yeah.
no,
ridiculous.
No, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
No. You got to give your ace every chance
Absolutely.
to get it going. Because there are times, sometimes, and you see it with those guys. First inning is always when they have trouble, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they lock in. There are times when, if you don't have it, you lock in, but then you may not lock in until 3rd inning. Like, you got to give it a chance.
And
never
it's
know what
May.
happens.
It's not like it's Game 6 of the World Series.
No, right. No, if that's the case, then you take them out.
A little different story.
How about those 7, 8, 9 hitters for Friday and Saturday? I just added some stats up. They went 11 for 23, 478 average, 6 runs, 6 RBIs. Sosa, Pache, and Rojas.
Wow.
A nice Friday,
Rosa,
Saturday
home
out there,
run.
too. Yeah.
Rojas, home run.
Yeah, we got our Latinos at the bottom there. I like that. We're raking a little bit. I love it.
I mean, they could work on their batting or bunting a little bit. They're a little rough with the bunting with the Sosa and Rojas.
It's funny. You're old school. The best is, the first thing he says when he walks in, how could those guys not know how to bunt?
If you're not a power
like,
hitter, you got to
nobody
know how
bunts.
to bunt. Come on.
Nobody knows how to bunt.
I was like, my dad's like, all they got to do is catch the ball with the bat. What are they trying to do?
There's an art to bunting a 96-mile-an-hour pitch.
Oh, yeah. That is tough.
So we're on the muck the Fets now, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Muck the Fets.
I actually wore a shirt that said that to Citizens Bank Park, and the usher made me turn it inside out before he let me through the gate.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
It's not
He said it
saying
was obscene.
Was he a Mets fan there? I'm just kidding.
He must have been from New York.
That's fantastic. The New York thing continues.
Yeah.
Here we
Right.
go.
The New York thing continues. We just had to deal with the whole Sixers-Knicks thing, right? The Rangers.
How about the Pacers complain about all those calls, and suddenly they're just smoking the Knicks right now?
It's kind of interesting.
I love it.
Interesting.
Smoking.
I know.
The process is own. TJ McConnell coming up big, too.
Yeah, I mean OG's out, but he's not that good. They got smoked yesterday.
Yeah, they got killed.
Yeah.
They got absolutely killed.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to because I hate them. I mean, the Mets have always been a team that we have hated, right?
And you covered it,
The
cuz.
worst.
You covered the Mets.
Oh,
That must have been a tough time for you.
it was. It was a. So it was funny because when I got the job in New York, so I was in Chicago. I was working for the AP, and I was looking for a newspaper gig. And so I would send. They call it your clip file, your portfolio, and it was like samples of your work and what you've done. And I sent them all over the country. I mean, back then you had to spend a lot of money on postage, right? 'Cause you would send physical clips, right? Like you get and I used to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on sending out the postage to, I mean, you name it, every newspaper. So I got a bunch of close calls and rejections and interviews. So I finally the Post was adding a Sunday paper, and so they had a position. So I go there, and the editor, who I talk about a lot, said to me, "Do you want to cover the Giants or the Mets?"
Oh,
Pick your poison.
Right, exactly.
that's horrible.
And so it was funny because he said, if you cover the Mets, you can start Monday, right? And I was like, well, I'll take the Mets because I didn't want to. If I said the Giants, if I said the Giants, who knows? Like, I'm thinking maybe the budget goes away.
Yes.
So you got to take the Mets, right?
Yep.
Even though I'd rather have taken the Giants, once I hate the Giants, but I love football, right? And I love baseball too, so it didn't matter. So I was like, I'll just do the Mets. But the Mets, it was like I hate the Mets. Like the Mets were always like trash.
Didn't you cover when they were good,
the
though?
Yankees, like still the Yankees, right?
Did you cover when they were good, though?
No, they were horrendous. They were horrendous.
Makes it a little easier, I guess.
Yeah, and it was a little bit better because Dallas Green was the manager.
Okay.
And I love Dallas because Dallas managed the Phillies in 1980. So I used to talk about the Phillies all the time. They
must have loved that.
Oh, they hated it. Yeah, hated it.
That's awesome.
But the Mets, we had this relationship with
Jose
them.
Reyes.
Yeah. Like there was nothing better when Jimmy stood up to the Mets.
Classic.
And that's why Jimmy will forever go down as one of our beloved characters because he gave the middle finger to the Mets and said, you know what? We're the team to beat.
I love it when they say F. Chase Utley, too. It's the best.
Yeah.
They hate him.
They hated Utley.
Oh, yeah.
They hated Jimmy. They hated Howard. It was great.
They had an epic collapse. Was that 2007? Their collapse?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that
Love
was the
it.
best.
Yeah.
That collapse was the greatest.
So much fun to watch
I still
happen.
get that good vibe. Like it's like, oh, the Mets. Now they have a kid. Thursday he's pitching.
Okay.
Christian Scott. We've been talking a lot about prodigies and young prospects and everything. Christian Scott. He's a lefty. He's their best prospect.
Okay.
So we get him on Thursday. He just pitched against the Braves. Pitched well. I think he got bit by a home run, but he only allowed 3 runs to the Braves and struck out 8.
They haven't had good luck with
Phils.
their high-priced free agents, which really pains me to watch. But been all right. The billionaire, what's his, Cohen? He's trying to buy a World Series. It ain't happening.
Yes, that's right. That's right. All right, time now for the best and the worst of the weekend. Let's do it. Give me your best,
Okay.
JP.
All right. So we had, so I saw on Twitter that Jakub Voracek, one of our greats here in the past couple of years, Voracek, guys, he's doing color commentating in Czech Republic. And I thought it was really cool to see. I thought he had that personality for it, but apparently he is knocked out the ballpark. Someone said that his vocabulary was super surprising, but it was cool to see Jakub go into color commentating.
Yeah, I thought he always had a
Voracek.
command of the English language, didn't he?
Maybe
I never
will we
thought
see
about it
him?
one way or another.
Yeah.
Like,
Will we see him in the NHL one day? We'll see. But it was cool to see him finding his
wow,
next
that's
spot.
bust out. You went Voracek
Voracek.
color commentating in the Czech Republic.
Not a fan of Voracek color commentating, cuz?
Dude, if I told you I never even, A, knew it, B, I will tell you the last time I thought about Voracek. It's probably when he was playing.
When he came here. When the Coyotes were in Philly, they did a great standing O for Voracek. That was the last time I saw him.
Yeah, sometimes we over-celebrate guys that don't need that
Dude's
much.
retired now. He's not even playing anymore.
Yeah, it was Voracek. Like, all right.
You know, like the line with G and Simmers. I wasn't getting you excited.
No, I mean, seriously.
It's been a rough decade
like,
of
that's
hockey.
my point. We celebrate nonsense. Like Voracek's one of a million faceless dudes
Okay.
that have gone here. Again, that just shows you how long it's been since they were freaking relevant. Since they had a top line, a legit top line.
That's what we're talking about here, cuz. Yep. That.
I mean, the last legitimate top line was, you got to go back to 88
Okay.
and Leclerc.
Legion of Doom, yeah.
I'm with you, JP. I'm a big Voracek guy. He
Like the
used to
Boris?
come into O'Neill's Pub on 3rd Street where I hung out after every game, do a shot of Jameson and get a 6-pack of Pilsner Urquell. Did shots with us. I'm a big Voracek guy. I like that. I like that he's out
Bring
there.
him to the NHL.
Yeah.
Do some color commentating.
Listen, the fact that you brought him up today is bust out. You get plus signs for the bust. I'm just shocked that I never like.
We need some hockey talk on here. Or
On a Monday, you're giving me, the analysis of Voracek's commentating. It's wild. Wild. What do you got?
Mine's not going to be that impressive. I wanted to go Phils, but the best part of my weekend is I got new underwear. And everyone can
there you go.
relate.
Yeah, it's exciting.
My dream in life to go is new underwear and socks every day. There's nothing like fresh, brand new underwear and socks. So
Dude,
it's
I
like
agree.
Nice support.
Socks and underwear.
Feels great. I'm having a great morning. So it's clearly the best move was buying underwear this weekend.
Yeah.
What's your brand? What's your brand?
Well, I have to dabble because I got a little bit of a muffin top, so the waistband can't roll over. So I
Okay.
got these Calvin Kleins on right now.
Ooh, there you go.
Solid
There you go.
waistbands.
That's a good
I'm
item
a
there.
CK man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
Like
waistband.
the CK.
Yeah. It's quality underwear.
Yeah.
And the socks are key. Oh, dude, the socks, like, you got a good sock.
Yes.
So
Good
comfy.
sock rules.
When bands go on the road, people always try and what do you need? Socks and underwear because they rarely do laundry. They're just starting out in the van. They all want packs of socks and underwear.
Because when the sock goes bad, bad sock is horrible.
What's your go-to length for sock? What do you like?
I'm winter.
Tube.
Yes.
The tube?
Winter. But then summer ankle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you.
know.
I'm a high sock guy all the way.
He is
I
high
like
sock,
tube
a
Love
short
high
guy.
socks.
What do you think about the high sock with the shorts?
I don't like high sock short.
Yeah, I'm not a
No,
I don't
fan
like the
either.
high sock short. No.
They're not
No,
tubes.
that's
They're
a
like,
soccer.
they're like mid-calf.
But that's your soccer look.
That is, yeah.
That's a soccer look.
Yeah, you got
I'm
it.
with you, Frazier.
Thank you.
You like that? You're the high top
I
short
like the
guy.
high. Yeah, I like the high top.
Never
shorts.
high top short. I think that's it.
Tube socks.
You never went high. Like when we were growing up, you never did high top shorts.
No. You scrunch them down if you did.
Yeah,
Because they didn't really have the no-show socks for us back in the day.
You had
scrunch
to
them
add
down.
the 3/4
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you would scrunch down.
Yes.
Then they came out with the no-show sock.
Yeah, I can't do that.
I love that. That's a great sock. Especially
It's not
if you
enough
get
sock. It feels like it's going to roll down the foot,
No, but if you get a nice, like a good Nike sock. I like the Nike sock.
Yeah, nice
It's
quality
Yeah,
sock.
Nike
Going
sock
Under
is good.
Armour, that's a good quality.
Yeah.
And you get the good quality. Thick
Yeah.
on the bottom, right? It's a good sock.
What do you wear?
Yeah.
Fruit of the Loom socks or what? What's going on there?
No, I do the Adidas, the Nike. Yeah.
Adidas.
All right.
Do you guys do the sock to bed?
No.
No?
Sometimes.
No bed sock?
No.
I hate cold
Bed
feet.
socks? No.
I'm a bed socks guy.
What?
Nah, I can't
Yeah,
do
I wear 'em.
that.
These guys are
Oh, you get a
psychotic.
clammy foot. No good.
Clammy
No, I
foot.
need it.
It's horrible.
Sometimes I
Really?
gotta put them on because I do have a clammy foot. Peggy will be like, "Your foot's all clammy. Put a sock on."
That's bad. I can't have nothing on my foot. Nah.
I don't like the exposed
legs.
toe. It feels weird to me. I don't know why.
Well, but that's why you're under the covers. Get the sheet. Yeah, no, I'm out on this sock to bed. By the way, Eddie Wright, my man, comes out, has a great line. He calls guys like Voracek cold McDonald's fries guy. Like, it's just cold McDonald's fries.
Still a decent fry, though.
I'd still eat it.
Well, that's his point.
Yeah.
His point is that, like, it's cold McDonald's fries.
Yeah.
Like, you go to eat it.
Still better than the
But
other
it's not
fries
like
out there.
it's not like a hot fry. You go, wow, a hot fry.
Yeah.
You get that.
Yeah.
All right. What's your best? Oh, your best was the underwear.
You did my best.
Worst.
All right, the worst. I'm gonna go. So this past Saturday, if you guys noticed, there was a lot of cowboy boots, a lot of cowboy hats in the city. It's because Morgan Wallen, the biggest country star to date, was here in Philadelphia.
Right.
Morgan Wallen. That's right.
Morgan Wong?
If Morgan,
play catcher
if
from the
Morgan
Red
Wong
Sox?
was a country star, that would be amazing.
From the Red Sox.
Morgan Wallen. All right. So
Wallen?
listen, guys, not a country guy. I'm not a country advocate. Just going off what we're seeing online, right? So he's
Listen, I don't care one way or another, but I don't.
he's performing, right? He's got a big
Why is it they always have two first names?
Wallen,
country
first
expert.
name?
Well, but it sounds like a Wallace. Sounds like a first name kind of thing.
Luke Bryan.
Yeah, they're always two first
always
names.
weird. Yeah.
Zach, was it Zach Brown?
Zach Brown?
Zach Brown?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay,
not a country guy.
what's this guy?
All right, so it's Morgan Wallen, biggest country star right now, right? He's coming to CBP, sells out CBP. Cool for him.
Wow, he sells
right?
out Citizens Bank Park.
It was packed,
That's
cuz.
unbelievable.
Dallas Goddard started
So,
to
dude,
do
I know
first
nothing.
chance.
When it comes to music, I'm out.
Okay.
I'm not inclined.
I got country
I lost
buddies.
the gene.
I lost the gene. So he's got a popular song that's named after the Atlanta Braves. Calls it the 98 Braves, right? So before he sings it, he tells the crowd,
The 98 Braves.
Yeah.
he's got a song for
At
98.
Citizens Bank singing that song.
I was at that World
should be-
Series, by the way,
Where are you now?
and those Fugazis didn't even sell it out. So there's a song about it? What was it? I didn't sell out the World Series? ATL?
I might have to listen to that. I'm curious what that looks like.
Oh man.
And he did. My father happened to be down there at the time. I got a face value ticket for him.
Oh, for
Day
real?
of the
Wow.
game.
Wow. Really?
Day of the game. That's a Fugazi.
So no, but he did, before he started singing, he did tell the crowd, I'm going to sing this song, but granted, you guys have owned us the
can't
past
sing
couple
that
of
song.
years.
It's got to be off the set list.
Yeah.
Off the set
It's a
list.
violation,
At
man.
Citizens Bank Park. You can't, at CBP, you can't sing that song.
But then the crowd,
Wow, that's like a favorite?
then the crowd at the end of it, cuz they break out and let's go Phillies chants. So the crowd, they understood the assignment. Let's go
I give it
Phils.
to the crowd.
Yeah, the crowd. But you
Yeah,
sing
you're-
that song there?
Listen, cuz.
Wow.
But he's wearing the Phillies jersey while he's singing the song.
even
The City
worse.
Connect
Wow.
jersey.
He's wearing the VG hat
The
and
City
the jersey.
Connect jersey?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing wearing
Yeah,
that
but you
jersey?
can't wear the jersey. If you're a Braves guy, like you write a song about the Braves, you can't wear a Phillies jersey.
Yeah, come on.
That's a violation on Kellen. What's his
Total.
name?
Kellen.
Morgan Wallen.
Morgan Wong.
Kellen Wong.
Kellen Wong.
No, you cannot. I'm sorry, you can't wear a Phillies jersey.
Nah, he should
It's a
take it off
violation.
to sing the song, if anything.
I'm sure. Listen, I respect the fact he's a sports guy. I think that's awesome. But you can't wear the jersey. Like, could you imagine if you were a country singer, right?
I don't want to imagine that.
I would love to imagine JP as a country singer.
All right. And here's PJ. All right. You can't wear so you can't wear a Cowboys jersey singing about an Eagles song in Dallas.
Ugh.
I agree.
Right?
Your skin would
I
burn.
agree.
Like you just can't. You can't do that. Like you can't. You got to be true to your squad. You wrote a song. It's a popular song about the Braves. You got to be true to your squad. No.
Well, so I got upset last year because Drake came into town and he did this whole AI introduction thing. And then there was like an AI clip of him, a young him, win a Phillies jersey. That pissed me off because a couple years ago, him and Meek Mill had beef and he came out with the back-to-back song. The cover of the back-to-back song was Joe Carter rounding out third base when the Phillies.
I know. No.
And so, like, now all these years later, what, you're going to say you were a Phillies fan as a kid? That one drove me up a wall.
Yeah.
It's pandering.
You got to be real with that stuff. That's your back in the day moment brought to you by Rite Aid. Rite Aid keeps you honest. RiteAid.com.
Typical Braves fan writing a song about a losing season. Just feels so bravish to me. Just losers.
What do you mean? 98 they won.
No, they lost. Didn't they?
No,
I thought
they
the
won.
song was about when they lost because then he had a breakup. His love.
They beat the Indians.
Oh, I thought the song was about a breakup.
Or
And
maybe that was
worked.
97 was the Marlins. No, the Braves.
It was 98.
Let me see. The Braves.
I did the Braves.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I
Indians
thought it was
won.
about.
But that could have been 96.
I thought that they came up short and his new love relationship.
Well, you
came
know
up
about the
short.
song. I just
read about it because I
just
heard
remember
about this
Braves
guy this
Indians
morning.
of the 90s.
Yeah.
I covered that series. It could have been 96 though, or 95.
All right, the
actually.
1998 World Series. Why is this not better detailed? Yankees. No, it was Yankees Padres was 98.
Yeah.
So maybe they lost to the Padres?
Yes, because he mentions the Padres in the song.
Oh, really?
Yep.
All right. I respect he didn't go with
A
with
loser?
win. Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I respect that.
All right.
Must
They
have
beat
been
the
90
Braves 4-2 in 98 NLCS.
Well, listen, we talk about heartbreak all the time. That's sports heartbreak. I actually like it more.
I'm
No?
out. I'm not singing a song about the 93
I'm
Phillies.
not singing it, but I think it's what heartbreak, woman, sports team. Come on, bro.
I'm going to make a song about that.
You wearing cowboy boots?
Because it's at the Morgan Wallen concert.
I got my
Grab your
Patrick
tractor,
Avenue,
start singing.
White sneakers on today.
Nice. Little Ferrari, Lamborghini action.
Wait, cuz you don't listen to any music?
Well, I have my
You have like a pump,
I
hype
have
up?
my music, but
He's like
I don't have
70s R&B.
Oh, there you go.
80s R&B.
Well, I like the old school.
I like that.
I
I'm
like
into
all the
that.
old R&B stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
I like all the old Philly sound,
A
soul.
little Delphonics.
All
What's
that.
the-
I
what's-
love that stuff.
what's the leg
And I
day-
do like, and I was a grunger in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there you go.
You know.
Nice.
So what's the leg day playlist, cuz? What do you,
I don't know, dude.
to get that squat on?
Yeah. I'm out. Like,
Sugar Hill Gang.
That's classic. Sugar Hill Gang. What do you got?
I'm staying below the waist. I had a worse. This is more like a PSA for everybody out there. I went to an art show at Fergie's Pub, and I was like, oh, I'm going to get a massage afterwards. So I walked over to get a massage, and I had that thought, do I need to go to the bathroom or not? I was like, I'm good. If you're ever getting a massage, clear it out, because I couldn't enjoy the massage. I was so worried about busted ass and farting the whole time. I could not enjoy the massage
That's horrible.
in a proper way. So this is a PSA to everybody out there.
Dude, that's awesome.
Clear out before you, if you're on the fence, clear it out before the massage.
That's
The
terrible.
They hit
relaxing
that
you.
spot and you're just
A couple vertebrae popped, and I was like, oh boy, here it comes. No,
Oh, that's
we survived.
terrible,
So that was,
dude.
ruined my massage kind of.
That's terrible.
Oh my god.
That's awful.
That's terrible.
All right. That'll do it. What was your best and worst of the weekend, Andrew?
My worst, I'll go with that. Watching the Union game was miserable, terrible.
Not doing good. Andrew.
They're not doing good. My best was, so I was on a trip. You guys know about
Yeah,
camping.
tell the story of the campground and the how the camp was invaded by wild horses.
Yeah, so I went to ALLCITY down in Maryland. It's right below Ocean City, Maryland. Beautiful national park. The big thing that the draw there is that there are wild horses on the island.
And it's right there on the beach, right? You're on the beach.
You're right on the beach.
That's awesome.
My girlfriend and I went there. We were there for a couple days. Beautiful weather, beautiful time. But the thing is, wild horses are wild, and they kind of do their own thing. And one night, we were hanging out at the campfire, and like 7 horses come rushing into our campsite.
That's awesome.
And immediately, they're running to our food. So we had everything locked up. We had like coolers, we had all this stuff. So we had our food locked up because they kind of told you like, hey, horses will do this. Make sure that you are prepared and you don't lose your stuff. Well, you know, we were drinking a couple beers and we had some trash, and they ran right up to the trash bag. They started ripping the trash bag out. Beer cans are going all over the place, all this stuff. They are there for like maybe 10 minutes, and they sit down, kid you not, like 4 of these horses sit down right next to our fire. So my girlfriend,
that's outrageous, dude.
My girlfriend and
You're
I,
with nature.
it was cool. No, I'm not gonna lie, it was really cool.
Beautiful.
It was cool, but you know, we're sitting there, and
VG.
Horses scare me. They're big, man.
they're actually not that big there. They're like quarter horses, so like half the size.
Quarter horse.
But these
It's a half the size horse they call a quarter horse, not a half
A
horse.
mini?
half horse, quarter horse.
Shetland
I'm
pony.
kind of making that up.
Ponies
So.
running. I'm okay.
Well, anyway, we're sitting there, and these 2 massive horses come in, and they they must be the guards to these other horses that are there, because they came in, and you could feel
Some Clydesdales.
there was some tension and whatnot. So they backed us off from our campsite, but it was really cool. It was a lot of fun.
I like it. Sounds like a good time. That's awesome.
I know we're late, but can we do a Brad Easter egg, please?
Yeah.
Brad today couldn't help but notice he changes up his background all the time.
Yeah, he watches the show.
He's in some books today. We got some books like Easter eggs whenever Brad shows up.
VG's Nugs. I'm walking right by VG's
Yeah,
Nugs.
I got a ton of noise, but we're running late. But I just want to get to this Brad. Look at Brad. This is what we noticed behind him. He's got 2 books. No, go back. Like I want to show the first. Like there's the first one.
The secret language of birthdays.
Yeah, with Brad with it behind him. But anyway, this is one of the books he's got behind him. The Secret Language of Birthdays. I have this book in my house.
I
The
bet you
Pegan's
would.
got this book.
Yeah, it's a pagan ass.
Yes, it combines like astrology with numerology, and it predicts your personality based on the day that you're born
I
and the
know
time
this
that you're
book.
born.
Yeah.
So Brad's got a little paganish background to him.
Wow, that's impressive.
And the other one is a John Taffer book.
Wow.
The Power of Conflict.
That picture of John
Speak your
Taffer.
mind and get the results you want. This is what he had on his background behind him
God,
today.
you gotta be kidding me.
Love the
How about
Taffers.
the Brad?
Yeah, man. So I love picking apart the background. He's so interesting. I love seeing what's
the Brad
behind
Easter
him.
hunt. Easter egg hunt. I love it. What do we? You got to go?
Yes. So tonight, hold on. I need a second to pull up.
I got one too when you're done, VJ.
You got to go too?
I do.
So we had an astrophysicist on when the solar eclipse came. My friend's a physics professor. Her and a bunch of physicists are doing at 2 Locals Brewing tonight at 6:30. A journey into the unseen, sleep, space, and bubbles.
Oh, that's awesome.
My friend
Where's
is
this at?
2 Local Brewing, 3675 Market Street.
All right.
She talks about
I'm fascinated by the
neutrinos. She says, I study neutrinos, fundamental particles with tiny masses and no electric charge that are sometimes called ghost particle. They're all around us, streaming through us all the time, but luckily they rarely interact with us. So she's going to talk about studying
Ghost particles.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
We
Like
got to get
ghost-
him in one day.
them. All right. We can get. Yeah.
I'm fascinated by the.
I got a line into these physicists.
Yeah, it's interesting. What
Like
we got,
ghost
JB?
ghosts?
So today, May 13th, marks the birthday of my own father, Juan Pablo Zapata.
Oh,
nice.
Happy birthday, Dad. I'll see you in a little bit. But yeah, happy birthday,
Nice.
Juan Pablo.
Happy birthday. What's his
birthday.
name?
Juan Pablo Zapata.
Juan Pablo Sabata.
That's it.
Oh, happy
Nice.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
You did a great job with this one. You're a good man. You should bring him in one day.
Yeah, we'll have to bring him in. He's working in North Philly today, so we'll have to bring him in.
Did somebody come that you knew last week?
No, so that's actually funny. So we have to talk with everyone in the office. We need to close this door. So a guy thought this was a bank. Someone gave him the wrong address. He didn't really speak much English, and granted, I'm the only one who speaks Spanish here, so I had to help him try to
That
get.
was nice. It was nice you did that. That was cool.
We almost had a guy walking in the middle of the show.
Yo, what's up, buddy? Listen, you got to, but that's great with Dad. Tell Dad we said hello. Happy birthday.
Absolutely, appreciate it,
Mr. Z.
Mr. Z.
Mr. Z. That's
What's up,
all right.
Bata?
You have one nug or 2 nugs?
I can
you
give
have
us one nug that I think is interesting you'll like. Sharp Football went through the wide receiver cap hits this year. I think the Eagles came in at 19th at 27.6 million cap hit. Here's the list. The Eagles are on there somewhere. They're 19th.
Yeah.
You can't see it on here, but the interesting thing I found of this, Dead last in cap hit at wide receiver are the Green Bay Packers at 11.5. And they got some players.
They got studs.
Yeah. I thought that was fascinating.
Studs. They got, man, they're good.
That's pretty cool.
Pack is good. They're incredible. I have a meeting tonight, a football parent meeting for St. Augustine.
All right.
Incoming freshmen.
All right.
So we have
That's
a meeting
exciting.
tonight. So I got to go down to St. Augustine tonight for Anthony.
Nice.
There you go.
And he's incoming freshman football.
Cool.
Go.
That's
Love it.
exciting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, man.
You know,
We're gonna be covering
let's go.
St. Augusta
He's-
games here.
He's got to be,
Yeah.
he's working out. I go, dude, did you do? Because I was with baseball a weekend. I got to keep tabs on him. You working out?
Up, down, burpees, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Got to go hang out with Baldy.
Yes, he does. Uncle Ball. He was there with him once.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
you
had Max
remember?
on,
You
yeah.
met Anthony.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, you were there. All right, that's going to do it for us. Everybody, have a great day. We love you. All right, tomorrow, Larry Boa will be on the show. We have our schedule release coming out Wednesday. We got lots to do this week, as always. Spend it with us, man. We love you guys. All right. Thanks for hanging. Have a great day. Be careful, and we'll see you in the morning.
We all silly like the mayor.